ball action, and of course, this game is the Fremantle Dockers taking on the Sydney Swans. Who's going to do it? We are only moments away from the start of this game. Have a look at the start time. Yeah, 6:10. We're only a couple of minutes away. We are waiting for the commentators to get back on, and then we'll be taking you down to them in just a moment.
A brilliant day it is in the West. Round 2 action from Optus Stadium. Fremantle and Sydney, two sides that are pretty desperate for a victory today. It might only be round 2, but Freo wanting to bounce back after a disappointing trip down to the Cattery last week. And the grand finalists from last year in Sydney, who have dropped their first couple of games of this season. Toss of the coin in the middle of the ground. Top Hapley in there for the Swans. Alex Pearce, of course, the skipper for the Fremantle Dockers, to get us underway. Just a minute and a half away from the bounce. Freo get the first thing done with the toss of the coin today, and they'll do something just a little bit different, just trying to bring the crowd into it, with Alex Pearce going to give his pre-match address to his troops down in the goal square in front of the cheer squad. And this fixture between these two sides has been a pretty good one in recent times. There was emotional scenes last year when Sydney got the win here at Optus Stadium by 48 points, and then it was Freo that actually got the job done at the SCG by a solitary point in round 16 last year. Surprisingly, that the last 5 of these clashes has actually gone to the away team. So Freo 2 wins at the SCG and Sydney 3 wins at Optus Stadium as well, which has gone against the tail of how you normally see things happen with the home ground advantage. And Alex Pearce, plenty of chat. There's been a lot of talk during the week. Justin Longfield talking about the review after the match against Geelong, saying that Fremantle need to own it, accept it, learn from it, and then just really get on with it. And as they look for their first points, the rocker on the roof will be in action. Troy out there just belting it out before we get underway, setting the scene for what should be a terrific contest. And Sydney missing a number of their stars through the start of this season. And a couple of narrow losses. Like to rectify that today. James Jordan did a terrific job on Lachie Neale last week. Lachie Neale to the lowest disposals, just 10. The lowest Lachie Neale had had since he was a Docker against Sydney back in 2017. And straight to Caleb Sarong, and the byplay between them, he would have been expecting it, and he's going to have him right on his shoulder throughout this clash. Two strong midfields about to do battle in the sunshine. 32 degrees, and we are ready to go. Fremantle and Sydney, round 2 from Optus Stadium. Luke Jackson in game number 100. An early touch for Sarong, able to get it out of there. And a long kick will go inside 50. Fremantle, Tracy there, brought it to ground. Roberts roved it nicely. And then Rampy going to clear the ball back to the wing. Haywood will crunch into the pack. Chapman was taken home.
McCartan is the one that's gone back for Sydney. Sort of thought with the selections coming in, that's how it may end up. He's gone straight to Josh Tracy.
Trace already with the head taped up, as we've seen in recent times. A reverse falcon there for Tracy. It goes towards the boundary. Voss, Amos, some tall targets down there for the Dockers.
Tom Papley's been clutching at his... Sorry, guys. Tom Papley's been clutching at his right shoulder. I'm keeping an eye on that.
It's an early incident there for Papley. Will be so crucial. Inside 50 for the Swans. Heaney would just dribble the ball out. Marty did well to get it to Campbell. Now they can try and run and move, but he didn't have much up the line at all, so had to tread water for a second. Pearce will get across to chop it off, wanting some support, couldn't get it to the boundary line. Handball over the head by Hanley was creative. McLean to Papley. Good to see that he's okay, and then finds Amani. Very open forward line for Sydney. So Amani's going to switch it up to centre half forward. Drifting down. Hamling's got it. I often see him down there too much as Jordan sends it into the pocket. Well worked by the Swans. They took the long way around, but they get the mark inside 50 with Hayward.
Two incredible kicks, one from Papley to hit Amadi, and then the one that just opened up the entire forward 50. Did really well there, flushed, if you like, the backman. It was Hamlin that really pushed up and set up that play. It was fantastic work.
It was off the back of Sharp, probably over-committing down the line and getting a spare defence. And Sydney changed angles so well. Just could be aware that it's not going to come in deep and strong and straight.
That delivery in for Hayward. Away from home. Hayward loves the fast start here. The boot of Will Hayward from the pocket. That's near side. Missed there after a good build up to Sydney. Changes for this one for the Swans coming in. Certainly looking a much taller team than recent weeks with Clean and Laddams coming back in. The cut has gone back to the fence, as we have mentioned. And a high ball goes in that direction right now. Tracy stands tallest and wants to get them moving. Johnson flying past. High ball up to Voss. 50 from goal. Amos on the lead. He was demanding the footy into the pocket, but Voss couldn't connect.
Yeah, he was on. He actually did a lot of work to get away from Dane Rampy. You can see how much body pressure that Rampy's putting on. Amos Voss though, saying, okay, I've got this one.
Just needs to sting out of transition when you do that. You hold it up, get all your numbers in your front half, have a shot for goal, deep entries, keep it in there if you can.
7 games last year, 7-11 his return. Here's a long kick of the footy. He heaves into that one. The extra distance forces it to hook it behind each way to begin.
Sort of Freo's DNA, isn't it, to get the ball locked in their front half. You would have liked to have rolled and tried to connect and take a bit of a risk in that forward entry.
The outlet here, Roberts with a good kick. Fine McCart.
That's a bit too easy, isn't it? The slow play.
Campbell there. Just that closing speed to get there and see it out.
Just that, so it was easy as well set up from the Swans in terms of there, set up from the kick in, but a bit sloppy from Fremantle's zone and defence. But just that spoil from Jordan Clark, you cannot under or over value those types of little things in a game. Sets it up here on centre wing.
Paying attention to Sarong at every stoppage, and then he just peels back to receive the handball. Did well to win his own footy as well. He's closing down Neil last week. Lloyd with a long kick. Pearce in front. McLean was there and did well now to release Papley off the left boot. Sends a goal and it's straight. Spurt goes across the face.
Already we're seeing some action around the stoppages. Looks like Strong's getting run with. He's trying to free up others, and there's always one that pops out. Warner's the one that popped out then.
Looks like, as Justin Longview alluded to, heading into the game, that's a bit of work with Heaney as he has a tea perhaps, or
Soothing cup of tea just to get things underway and ready to go.
ever run with the peppermint tea.
He's a double shot for that one.
Ball knocked down. Jackson, Tracy with strength. O'Meara, he found a heap of it last week. Coughs up the handle. Lloyd involved. Wicks, clearly not 15. Hayward, Wicks, back to Jordan. Jackson's got him, and they'll target that. Putting the clamps on Sarong. The Ducker teammates will take every chance to put some physical pressure on the target.
Don't you love that from your big ruckman? The second effort, the tackle. And as you said, perhaps on the tagger, that's brilliant work from Luke Jackson.
Jackson to Wagner. And they go very wide for Frederick. Much movement forward. So we're just going to bang it in home. Tracy wanting to get there. A bit of a tangle with Rampy. Voss down low, clear to path, got it away. Shea Bolton. His first touch as a Docker is a high kick, which will lob in the square, and Hamling, former Freo player, sends it over the line.
Murphy Reid, the superstar last week, 4 goals on debut. He's got Big Blakey on him. He actually led up into a nice pocket of space, but he led to a position where he wasn't going to get used, and Blakey was the one to pop back into space. So it's going to be an interesting watch. You can't keep leading into positions where you're just not going to get used, and your opponent is able to lay off and get in the way of the likes of Amos and Tracy.
After goal there on his dock of the boot. High-profile recruit in the off-season. The Swans go straight up the corridor. A long kick by Rampy. McLean has got out the back of Pearce, and he just strolls towards goal. They waltz from end to end, but again another miss.
Been sloppy, haven't they?
Yeah, look, it's end-to-end at the moment. It's just rebound 50 after rebound 50, and team defence for both sides a little bit scratchy, and good ball work for both sides as well.
Hot start in hot conditions, 32 degrees. Goes to a 2-on-1 that favours the Swans. Pearce did well to knock it down with the support of Sharp. Now trying to get around Florent. Loops it back to Sharp. And around the wing now Fremantle can go. Sharp looks inboard. Off the instep. Works to Brayshaw. Maybe not the intended kick. They keep it rolling through the centre square. Almost missed with a handball. Johnson, Brayshaw, strong enough to get away. Johnson now to Chap. Sub last week. It's a little surprisingly. Now finds Sarong. It works hard to get clear.
That's a really good kick.
He stabs it into the pass, hoping for the hero last week in Murphy Reid, and it rolls away.
So last week we saw Fremantle over handball. They over-possessed, lots of handball received. Geelong tipped them over and scored heavily on turnover. Today, you can almost see on that occasion they got themselves into trouble, but then Heath Chapman decides, no, let's get this ball forward with a kick.
Jackson in the ruck. It's Grundy in front position. Heaney was tackled well. Driscoll in there. Trying to find Frederick. Close to the line. Good tackle from Roberts. Rasmus in there. Out of play it goes. So almost. Just bounces back in. O'Meara away. Sarong trying to get busy. Swans pinch it back. Rory Water over the top. Wicks tackle. Went the high bend. No whistle. And Cox was dispossessed. Scrappy footer to be won. Pressure from both teams. Now Fremantle are forced backwards. Chapman ran into trouble. Papley with a good tackle. Just got it clear. O'Driscoll went over the top of it. Clark, O'Meara. Surely we're destined for a stoppage, and eventually we get
This
one.
is what we saw last week. You pressure Fremantle, they'll feed it backwards, and the pressure builds and builds. Both sides are doing it at the moment. There's not much search footy going on.
You can see the pressure factor right now there. You can see Sydney right on top in that stat, but both teams applying lots of it.
Broken by Heaney. He has lost his footing. Hayward. Sarong's back there. Now Chapman to the wing. Brayshaw. Battles with Roberts. Banfield was clean. And for O'Driscoll who fumbled. And the extra number. O'Meara. Banfield. Rasmus over the top. They can run. Opens up now for Brayshaw. Options inside 50. Free kick advantage down the ground. Long ball goes in towards Tracy. He plays on and kicks the goal. Josh Tracy gets the first for Freo.
Well, it could be the reason you're winning there, but it could be the reason you're losing there. Freo continuing to flip the ball around by handball use, and it is avoiding the Sydney pressure, but if they get out, if they can actually execute their skill and absorb the pressure, then it turns into this. Look how many handballs this is. There's one there. There's a little bit of a fumble. You can't fumble, by the way. Driscoll was not going to get him over that one. Sharp give, and then they're out finally, and it allows your forwards to stretch, as Tracy does here. He's the deepest forward. He's able to stretch when there's some free flying with the ball movement. He ends up with the goal.
You're right, Pav. You can go backwards to go forwards, but not 3 or 4. One handball back to release someone, 3 forward handball chains, and then everyone stretches and away you go. It's a fine line. It worked well then, as long as they keep doing it.
Goal from just 9 disposals last week, Josh Tracy. Tough afternoon in Geelong. He'll be very happy to get one early here. As the Swans out of the middle. Jordan the clearance. Tumbling, bouncing ball. Tough for McLean. Clark. Now Chapman. Seems too fast out of defence. Luke Rye. Bomb it to the wing. Frederick read it early and got to the front. This was looking for the body contact, and Frederick able to take them up.
Yeah, he just lost him, did he? Had a little bit look behind him, guys.
O'Driscoll will always run. And he stings it in towards the pocket. Amos got separation from Rampy, but it's out of play.
Really interesting watch, you know, from a coach's perspective. You've got the Heaney sort of Jordan/Sarong battle going on around the ball. Jordan going with Sarong all the way. You can see him right there. But Freo also looking to get to Heaney when they can. He's off at the moment, Isaac Heaney, but interesting matchups all around the ball.
Jackson, front position, down to Sarong. Spills to Jordan. Lloyd. A high ball. Oh, really attacked it in the end. Bounces away. O'Driscoll got a shoelace on it. Rasmus crashed through. On his knees, tries to find it again. Laddam's back in. Chad Warner off the outside. The Pook did well to create something.
How many can do that?
Incredible. He's very inventive, isn't he?
Got all sorts of pressure. Still was able to find a target. Campbell stings it up the line. Too tough to be marked by Hayward, who wanted a free kick for high. Pierce squeezes it through for Frederick, who's working up the wing. They want to run and carry again, trying to break the lines. Ryan and O'Driscoll combine. Kick was touched on the way through. Brayshaw, Sarong, open forward line again. The one-on-one. Amos wanted it. Rampy left it behind. Amos turns goal. Rampy still hassling. Leads there, but Blakey can control it. Kept a cool head. Finds Roberts. Frenetic stuff in this first turn. Brennan Cox will take them on.
Dane Rampy's going to love that one-on-one battle. Diane just needs to get free, get on the bike, get on his bike, move on Rampy rather than just wrestle.
Johnson. High ball. Jackson's there. Off hands. Banfield waiting down. He's got support. Sharp took too long. Great tackle coming in from Florent. Saved a shot at goal. Corey Warner wrapped up. Sharp's there. Tracy for 2 in the corner. Josh Tracy.
There's great pressure from Ollie Florent it was, but also really well played from Heath Chapman, because he's the defender that's watching Florent go up and put that pressure on, and then he sits off and he's the actual half-back that sets up this play. You can see just on the top of the screen there's the tackle from Florent. Heath Chapman just setting up just behind in a position where he can impact the next contest, then he comes forward, puts the pressure on. It's a ground ball in your forward 50, and that's a classy snap from your key forward.
Probably get 4 or 5 forward 50 turnovers a game at Pope, and the reason why they're goals is you score from it. So, you know, if you get 5 to 6, you'll have 4 or 5 shots at goal, and more them the merrier. You'd rather them there than the centre forward.
And it shows how important the half-back is for your forward 50 stoppage. Your forward 50 turnover goals. Chapman flushing or getting up there, being in a strong position defensively. Florent, great tackle, but Chapman's there to mop up as well.
Right start for Fremantle. Tracy with both of their goals. Out of the middle, Jordan knocked it down. Grundy tried a volley. Grundy's far away.
Interesting to see Dean Cox there give a few words of advice to Sam Wicks, who's got the tough job on Shea Bolton.
Goes wide. Off hands. Banfield will be forced over the line, and he drags Blakey down with him.
A little bit of an issue for Sydney, the inability to keep it in their front half. Everything's pinged back the other way. And a couple of kick-ins have gone full length, and they just haven't had any turnovers in the front half at the moment.
Strapping there for Sharp.
If that's a corky or a lob to the lower leg, Kath will give us the latest there.
Perhaps in that tackle for Florent. Inside 50 a few moments ago. Campbell. Well tackled by Wagner, but got the arms clear. Rowbottom's kick was always down low. Pearce recovered nicely. Sarong. Clark. Told to go. Use his leg speed. Here's Murphy Reed. He chips out into the path of Johnson. And they've got options aplenty again. Frederick is deep in the pocket, who doubles back. He leaps, but couldn't mark. The kick just wasn't to his advantage enough in the end. Sydney recover. They're going to do a lot of defending, and they turn it over again. Voss, his kick smothered. Well done, Jordan. O'Meara crashed through. Jordan recovered. Got it to Campbell. Nothing through the middle of the ground, but the foot races on. Ryan and Hayward. Ryan got there first. Waiting for some support. Chapman back through. Trying to be a little too cute. Coughed it up to Heaney. Now the Swans have half an opportunity if they can work the numbers. Well tackled was Heaney by Clark. Johnson's over there. Now he can battle one-on-one. Trying to work it to the boundary. Goes up the line and calls insufficient intent.
First bit of composure Sydney have had in their front half. Everything's been slingshot football. They can get some sort of composure. A couple of marks in their front half, a few deep entries, just settle down a little bit. Chaotic for Sydney at the moment.
Typically, that's a game that the Swans probably like, the turnover game, but when you're away from home and you haven't been able to lock in your forward half, just a little bit of control is really important.
15 for Heaney. Seen so much through the first couple of rounds. Robertson out, drive it in, and Marty in the pack. And Cox with the spoil. McLean down low, open it up for Hayward to snap. And misses.
They've missed some opportunities, haven't they? The Swans have had 2 or 3 now where you think normally the calibre of players, Hayward, McLean, a few others, just not taking the most of their opportunities.
They've only had 6 inside 50s to 12, so the game is on Fremantle's terms at the moment. This is part of the problem, not creating a contest closer to their goal. It's more centre back here.
One out of the 50, but Adams wins it back.
Good for his confidence too.
Yeah.
They could easily pulled him out late in the game knowing they're a bit short of Fremantle, so to back him in's important for Dean.
One game last year for Peter Adams. Pearce lost it in the sun. McLean took it. Hoyts at Goldwood. Needs a good bounce. It'll just pitch on its end and lob with Ryan. Up to Wagner, who's been busy early. Cross to Erasmus, running out of room. And up the boundary. Campbell now, outside of the boot, was trying to whip it back with the miracle. Still in play. And Corey Warner sees it over.
Alex Pearce has actually been a very strong contributor early in this match, but later on the Sunday afternoon, with the sun setting in the west. Pretty hard to see the ball.
Probably lucky it didn't pop him in the face the way it was going. Or a nasty one.
Close my eyes and hope.
Ball thrown in. Boss doing the ruck work. That roll alongside Jackson for Fremantle. Hamling with a nice mark. Great to see him in the Swans lineup. Had such a journey through his career. As Blakey goes on for Florent. Stabs the ball in short to Heaney.
Here's where the Swans like to change those angles. We talked about it. Slow play on this occasion, but it's the threat today.
A bit of territory as it goes in long. They want McLean. Pierce out front spot. And the mark will be paid. No problem with the sun that time.
They started well, the captain.
Outside 5.
Ryan with the first quarter just slowing down a touch after a really frenetic start. Long ball up the wing. Blakey got there first. Tracy infringed. Blakey to take it. Marty in the pocket or went shorter, and Voss gets back to help.
Yeah, so he's playing ruck at the moment. Luke Jackson has had a bit of a spell. He's gone forward, so that's the matchup with Voss going into the ruck and Laddams for Sydney.
Long high ball to the pack. Jackson's there. Tracy too. It hits the deck. Laddams couldn't take it. Jordan in and under. Sarong scrapping. Laddams socket. Wagner did well. Once, twice, and then it falls back in underneath. And we get a stoppage.
Okay, so let's have a look at this setup here because Isaac Heaney, you can see Jager Ramirez trying to get to him at most stoppages. There it is, going straight to him and playing very hard on him, and you've got Jordan doing the same on Caleb Sarong.
Jackson tapped it, but only to the advantage of Papley. Kick was affected. O'Driscoll flicks it out. Ryan with a good step. Blast it long. Up the wing. Blakey read it nicely. Off the boot. Just couldn't hang on to the mark, though. Adams to Florent. Now they can change things up. Try to open up the field a bit. Lloyd's got the footy.
Haven't had the benefit of scoring at this point in time, but gee, they use the ball well, don't they, the Swans, when they're able to win that contest and then change that angle like they have on a number of occasions.
Both teams have got different gears. We've seen today. It was such a frenetic start, wasn't it? 10-0. Now both teams seem happy to have a bit of field position, make the opposition defend a little bit, spend some tickets in defence, and hopefully expose them with just a play that may be out of position, force a handover that's not there, get a mark inside 50.
Nice to Wicks. The kick over the head of Hanley. Green Cox to Jackson. Now Erasmus. Fremantle can open it up. Bolton is one-on-one ahead of the footy. Reid will set it in that direction. McCartan is there on a spoil. Bolton trying to bring it to ground. McCartan played it well. Would have been paid the mark given he spoiled it. Controlled it nicely. A dangerous spot for a defender to be in. One out on Shea Bolton inside 50.
He played it well though, didn't he? Tom McCartan. Brilliant defence.
And sliding in. Rushed his kick. Jackson. Wagner. And now Clark. Looks wide. Working hard is Voss.
They're not much inside 50 at the moment for the Dockers. Needs to hold this one up.
Just going to set a high ball to the hot spot. Jackson! From the side, the big ruck in game number 100 takes the clock.
So he was the one that actually had to work really hard because McCartan was the spare for the Swans, and then Voss, what he did very intelligently, Pat Voss, was actually kick the ball off the line. He didn't kick it straight to where the +1 McCartan was. Just there. He just couldn't quite get there, McCartan. And Jackson was able to float in from the side. Smart kick, strong mark.
Something that Freo fans have been wanting to see from Luke Jackson, taking big pack marks. Played 52 games for the D's, won a premiership on this ground in 2021. Game number 100 today, and Luke Jackson salutes with a goal.
It's a pretty even game, even though there's a scoreboard differential. That'd be a bit concerned for Dean. Obviously coming off a couple of disappointing results, just not getting bang for buck on their entries, and then it's Fremantle's turn now to slingshot the game and get the ball played in our half pretty quickly. So, yeah, both teams sort of flipped each other's roles in the last 5 or 6 minutes. Now it's now Fremantle who rebounding quickly from half-back.
That's elite work rate from Luke Jackson. He was the one that won the ground balls, almost from half-back in the centre of the ground. Then he says to his ruckman, "Can you defend me running forward? Play it as a centre half back on me for a little while." Takes a strong mark, kicks a great goal.
Questions about his future. Spoke strongly in his milestone match press conference on Monday, saying he'll definitely be that Fremantle into the future. Another ruck, he knocks it down. Hapley's in there, dispossessed by Brayshaw. Fremantle up and about early. Sharp, Sarong, and underground, or along the ground to Brayshaw. Back for Sharp. Lost the centre square. Magnet disposal number 7 in his first turn. Chips it up for Clark. There's a long kick of the footy, and from 55 he thought goal straight away. Tracy puts the arms out. He was wanting the lead, to be honest.
They set the ground up really well, Fremantle. When they hold their width and use the numbers, they look really dangerous. It helps them defend behind their ball movement, but also helps change up the way they end inside 50. Didn't quite work then for Clark, but a lot clearer than last week.
Tighter defend the shot, was he somewhere?
Yeah.
I think he was as well.
Chad Warner on the boot. Hanley almost juggling in the fingertips. Again, not many options for him. He just has to hold on and wait. And Marty up the line. They'll just tread water for a second, the Swans.
They've still got one-on-ones ahead of the play. They're trying to be really structured and
Lloyd stepped off his line unintentionally. Call to go. Long ball in. Heaney from the side. Knocked away. Bice worked out of it by Banfield. Hanley was good. Got there first. But did he dive on top of the footy? He did. He was trying to make the play. It's a little unfortunate, but caught holding the ball.
yeah, that's the one that the umpires are always going to call, aren't they? Just dive on it and don't get it out straight away, then it will be called holding the ball.
Wagner up the line. Jackson and Tracy, the tall timber. Bolton waiting down. Brayshaw through. O'Meara with a step back now for the run of Bolton, who wants to take it and go. Good pressure and chase and harassment from Wicks. Just wouldn't give him an inch.
Yeah, it was fantastic from Wicks. Pressured the initial hand pass and then did not give up on it. It'll be a fascinating battle, that one, and interested to see how much time Bolton actually does spend in the midfield. It's a little bit underdone coming into this game in terms of game minutes, so you expect him forward more than mid.
Ball up the wing by the Swans. Chapman in from the side with a double fist.
The team's got a bit of work to do this season to work out what do they want in their front half. Do they want quick ball? Their back half and their midfield seem to be in pretty good order. It's how they enter their 50s at the moment. It's either slow or quick, and I'm not quite sure which one they prefer.
Number one scoring team last year, averaging 95.6 points, the Swans, but only kicked 76 and 82 through their first two games. Here's Bolton away to Johnson. Another handball through. Walker drives it in low. Great entry. Boss on the lead.
So that's exactly what Justin Longyear and his coaching staff want to see. They want to see the stoppage control, first give, a halfback really being in an attacking position. You can see there Walker's flushing, if you like, on his opponent. We've seen that a couple of times. And then make Blakey defend. It's a strong lead from Pat Voss.
He's on the Essendon rookie list to start his career. Patrick Voss got an opportunity at Fremantle last year as a pre-season pickup. Played the 7 games. He wants to stake his claim for a spot in the team. That one was tight, but out to the right.
He started the game well, Voss. Been active in the forward line, but also as that second ruck.
It's a big call. They wanted to have the 2 rucks in Reedy and Jackson round 1. Made the change this week to go with more of the forward ruck setup with Voss coming into the team. Swans up the line. Freo with the numbers. Jackson sees it away.
Is this stoppage scenario again? So Jordan straight to Sarong. That's been the matchup. Caleb Sarong's already had 7 disposals, but Amir is trying to get to Heaney. So it's going to be a fascinating watch all day.
Grundy and Jackson. Grundy works hard to get to the front. Jordan's kick up the line. Bouncing ball. Brennan Cox just a little too nimble. Able to fire it back to half forward. The wrestle on. Amos did well to outpoint Rampy. Now the chance for Tracy. They try to connect. Banfield was in the road. It spills away. Erasmus wanted to get there. Corey Warner took the footy. Didn't get rid of it. Spills out now. Voss, another opportunity for Freo. Voss converts.
Lots been talked about some of the Fremantle midfielders, and Neil Erasmus is one who's been in and out of the side on the fringe for the last 3 years. He almost had a goal opportunity where just landed in his lap and he could have waltzed into an open goal, but it didn't go his way. And this follow-up tackle, let's have a look at his attack on the ball here, Erasmus. Bang! Lays the tackle and then says to Pat Boss, yours, old Shepherd. The boss does the rest. Exactly what the coach staff would have loved to see.
We didn't see a lot of this last week, did we? The front half pressure. That's the second forward 50 turnover, as you mentioned earlier. They're the ones you want. Turn it over within 50 metres of your goal. And he started well. It's much as I've seen him in the last few years, it's always looked a bit unsure with his own confidence more than anything. And to back him in, play him this week and get that conversion is fantastic.
Last time Sydney were goalless in a first term against Fremantle was way back in 1997. Staring down that now with 15 seconds to go. They do get the footy here though. Mini can step and create some drive for the Swans. One last chance to get a mark in this opening quarter. McLean rising high, couldn't hang on. O'Meara clears it. If it goes over the line, it'll be a free kick to the Swans. You'd imagine it'll be paid insufficient intent. And it just crossed the line before the siren went.
This happened a few years ago.
Right in that exact pocket.
It's for Fremantle. They didn't call it, yes.
Yeah, no, that was...
I thought that was a great call, by the way, years ago.
In what way?
When you were coaching West Coast?
It wasn't clear. It's machine behind the head.
The North game, that's right. Yes, it's certainly insufficient intent, you can see there.
Umpire explaining it with the opportunity to avoid a goalless opening term. It is sliding across the face. The Freo fans are celebrating. It's been a big fight back by the Dockers. Decimated down in Geelong last week. Thrashed by 78 points. They found the response. And at quarter time, they lead it by 22.
You work hard for your money.
All right. First opening quarter done and dusted. Fremantle, they're leading away 4-3-27 over the Sydney Swans, yet to score a major, just 5 behinds. That final kick just on the siren, the Freo defender kicked it, just quickly kicked it out of the pack, and of course it went over the boundary line. And so, of course, as they normally do, they call it deliberate. There we go. That's why Sydney had a shot after the goal, after the siren, and got a behind. Just want to welcome in. Mark was in there. Teenage Bem in there. Addy G is in there. Shouty. Daniel Berry Sports. How you doing, Noel? I wonder if Freo will make the moment. You reckon Freo by 22? I tell you what, Freo look pretty good opening up. They got a lot of run. They look like they're just linking up well. They're creating space well. Sydney not too bad. Possessions. Jake Lloyd is leading the table for the Sydney Swans on 10. 7 kicks, 3 handballs, 5 marks. Jager O'Meara, the next best on the ground for the Dockers with 9. Corey Wagner with 8. Paddy Voss with 8. Matty Roberts with 8 also. All right, we're going to be back. We're going to be back in just a moment. Actually, while I am doing that, there are the quarter time. Let me just reload that. Is that correct? That's a lot of disposals in a quarter of footy, folks. 117, 104, all pretty tight up. I think this would be a reasonably tight type of game. In all aspects. 55, 64, 62, 40. Fremantle just getting that free flowing run a little bit more through the centre. 22 plus. Inside 50, 18 to 12. Of course, 7 scoring shots for the Dockers, 18 inside, and 12 insides for 5 scoring shots for the Sydney Swans. Efficiency not too bad for the Dockers. A little low. The Sydney Swans could pick that up. Free kicks, not many. There was just one there on the siren. Would have been 3 each of 2, but 3 to 4. 1 ahead to the Swannies. The Swannies by 1 in the hit-outs, 5 in the clearances, 1 in the centre clearance, so everything reasonably tight there. Contested possession, 7 the difference, not a great deal just at the moment. Same with uncontested. All right, that's enough of that. Let's get back down to the ground. Let me put that back there. And they'll take us into the bounce of the ball for the second quarter, whereas the Dockers, the Fremantle Dockers, by 22 points.
Ground there with Dean Cox, but they went straight into the change rooms once that siren sounded. So it's been a very high-pressure game to start and in real hot conditions here in Perth. Matthew Padley, Adam Simpson, what have been your first quarter observations?
Just firstly, I'm interested to see maybe the quick ice bath or maybe a quick towel. I'm interested to see what they're doing there.
The Cats did that in Geelong last week against Fresh, so maybe they took some lessons.
It certainly worked. Kathy, you talked about the midfield battle. It's been fascinating to see what's going on in around the stoppage, and particularly Sydney at this point in time leading the clearance count, but no team has actually scored from clearance. But you've noticed a couple of things in terms of how the teams are setting up just outside of the stoppage.
Yeah, well, knowing Fremantle, the way they exit these stoppages is always with hands. And when you look at that there's 2v2 spares, and if you're lining up for feedback handball before you go forward, not when you play Fremantle, you do get yourself in trouble. You run the risk of them shaping the ball back towards the corridor. It could have gone boundary, back to open corridor, overlap, connection inside 50. Now, they haven't dominated through this position yet, but if they allow that all day, it gives you field position, blocks the ball in their front half. They're really hard to get through. Traditionally, last week they were easy to get through, but this week it looks like they're on defensively.
So if you're Sydney, you're hoping to maybe wrap around a little bit more and at least put a little bit more pressure on that midfield matchup. The one that I've been really interested to keep an eye on as well, Luke Jackson, the star ruckman for the Dockers. I mean, we know what capability he has in around the ball, but here he is. So he spent time forward, but he's playing ruck at this point in time. He gets the ground ball, and look at him go. He says to his opposition ruckman there, Adams, all right, come and defend me. So the ball comes really well transitioned to the half-forward flank with Boss. You can see McCartan, he's the extra number. Fremantle are trying to equalise, and they don't actually get it done, but that kick is off the line to Luke Jackson. He takes his ruckman forward, he takes the mark, and he goes back and kicks the goal. It's great, smart play from your ruckman, and the Dockers, well, at this point in time, they're just, here they come. They've cooled off.
I'm sure they're offering this to both sides, by the way. I don't think it's just a home ground thing. You'd hope so. It shows you probably why Laddams is in and out of the side, because the expectation is if your ruck goes, you go. You need to have the energy to do that all day, let alone the first quarter. So I'm sure the feedback would have been reasonably direct by the ruck coach, and Dean's probably doing both.
Back in the day, Simo, you weren't allowed to drink water, you weren't allowed to stand in the shade, now they're going into the room.
Yeah, there's plenty of shade out there. I think it might have been a little bit over. So we've been training and playing in this heat for the last 4 months. So maybe just because they saw Geelong do it last week and thought there might be a minor advantage, and you just hope Sydney got off at the same.
I'm sure they did, yeah, no doubt that would have been the case. This is the matchup, Caleb Sarong and James Jordan. Alex Pearce started the game very well, down back leading his Dockers team to an early advantage.
22 points, the Freo lead at quarter time. Sydney still searching for their first goal. We're underway, second term off the stadium. The Dockers and the Swans, Sarong, O'Meara, and that handball again. They break out the front. Jackson combines with Brayshaw. They all got to touch the delivery. Bolton's waiting to rove. Amos down there. Good tackle from Ramsey.
Could you let that go then for Bolton, you think? Yeah. Just a little knock on. It's an opportunity to bring someone else into the game. First game together, I suppose.
Well done by Fremantle out of the middle. On the move here, tap down, Brayshaw. Swans have the numbers to get out of defence. Whips his kick up to the pump. He's forced very, very wide. Campbell is working hard to get there. It'll be a boundary throw in. The fans wanting insufficient intent, but Campbell was certainly almost.
He was right there at the time. I'd say the players even having a bit of a chuckle about that.
Could be a real concern, this ruck battle at the moment. Jackson's doing a number on both, giving really good supply.
He locks up with Jackson. It's knocked down the front. Chad Warner just had it ripped out of his hands by O'Driscoll whilst he was bursting away. Rowbottom's kick, bounce important, tough one for Adams. Now to play again.
Caleb Strong getting protected very well here from Jago O'Meara. He's the one that's pushing and shoving and trying to get in the way of Jordan.
And Cox preferring to coach
Back
from
up in the box.
the coach's box in this second term. Look at the heat just having an effect as well for the coaches.
So O'Meara's doing two jobs at the moment. He's getting the heating at every opportunity when there's a stoppage. If not, he's just trying to block for Sarong.
Clearance is going the way of the Swans, but Fremantle just seem to be more effective with the ones that they've won to open things up. Here's Reid.
Everything's got a handle to it that's connected to someone with it. shoulders out, you call it, where they're facing the goals.
Reed spotted O'Driscoll drifting down. Rowbottom spoiled. O'Driscoll kept his feet and he'll want to get on that left boot. Good chase from Campbell. Good delivery, Voss. Perhaps the sudden issue went through their hands. Bolton still a chance. Trying to beat two down there. Knocked it through. Voss with strength. Trying to feed it back for Tracy, but the Sydney numbers went out. Again, Wicks under pressure. Just a duck kick out of the fence. Clark couldn't hang on. Grundy. Jordan. And now Papley. On the ground after he got rid of that one. Pearce was trying to bump him. Not sure if he made contact or not. Now it's Lloyd. Back. Papley's to get another look at that entry.
They lowered their eyes on two occasions there. The Dogs just couldn't quite connect.
Chance here for Chad Warner to use his strengths. Running and driving and hitting a target inside 50. That individual brilliance from Chad Warner has created something for the Swans.
He's a terrific player, isn't he? Just that ability to step and then explode and then just neatly play it into the space of your resting ruckman as a foot. Look at that step. Just waltzes past the wrong and then that's an elite kick.
Last year, a 4-year deal, Peter Adams, a former Port Adelaide player, has played 11, 9 and then just one last season for Sydney. That one game he played last year was a 112-point loss to the Power in round 21.
What's his kick like, Pat?
Pretty good, I think.
He'll have to try and sink it from here, from outside 50. Good connection. In fact, great connection. And the Swans finally break through for their first.
That's a good call. Wouldn't have called it good, but good connection there, good execute, really important for Sydney. I mean, one more goal the other way and there's alarm bells. Then you've got to start really looking at what do we need to do to change this game up, because it's quite congested in the midfield. Everyone's trying to tag everyone else. It breaks open and both teams are looking reasonably dangerous. Fremantle with their shape and direction and Sydney with their spot kicks, make the ground big, get a good corridor kick then, and Warner does the rest.
That's a nice bit of craft as well from Adams. Wouldn't say Ford Craft has always been his kit there, but you can see there he had Cox off balance, came back up the footy, and yes, it was great play from Warner, but a nice lead as well.
Soft delivery from Warner too. Running at pace like that, making it easy for the forward.
A bigger version than the lizard look about him. Adams, not sure what you call that.
The Dragon. The ball's in the middle of the ground, and it's going to be bounced away.
Shea Bolton, speaking in the middle of the ground, he's in there, opposed to Isaac Heaney, so we heard Justin when we were pre-match talk about the balance and what it looks like for him. There he is next to Heaney.
That's right up. Grundy. Get something going out of the middle here. Heaney. Rowbottom off his boot. Driscoll. O'Meara crunched in a tackle. Tried to fend. Didn't dispose of it correctly. And Grundy's caught one in the process of laying that tackle.
Yeah, he looks very sore. We'll keep a very close eye on that. Hopefully he's okay.
To the face or the throat, perhaps, that fend off. Sydney have got the footy. As it goes long inside 50, Pearce front position, couldn't hang on to the mark. Driscoll with the ball at his feet. Brodie Grundy still with the trainers.
Yeah, as he went into tackle, Jago O'Meara, perhaps there was a head clash or a height contest. Get a bit of an eye on that.
Cox is dislodged, and that's ricocheted off the boot, I think, of Laddam, so it'll be out of bounds on the full.
Brodie Grundy looking to stay on the field. Just spoke to Freo. It was a pre-game call to head into the change rooms at the quarter-time break, but they're likely to stay on the ground at three-quarters time.
Conditions cool down through the afternoon. Amos in the middle of the pack. Florent waiting down. Let's book a high ball back inside 50. Laddam's there. A lot of pushing, shoving, some holding, and a free kick's going Fremantle's way.
So it's just starting to get a little bit back on Sydney's terms. Those last 2 or 3 minutes, they've created some forward half turnovers, and Fremantle really having to defend strongly. Like the start of Alex Pearce's game, though, he's thrown himself in every contest, been right up for the battle.
On ball, Grundy had to compete. Jackson was up too. Bice got it back. A high kick from Hamling. Heaney in a wrestle. O'Meara knocks it away. Jago O'Meara, last week, 31 disposals, the most he'd ever had as a Docker. He's leading the way for Fremantle with 13 so far. We see here what happened. It was O'Meara with the fend and then some friendly fire from Rowbottom with a poke in the eye.
Yeah, they're not nice at all, poke in the eye.
Got to push through it. And this hit out down. Campbell. Got knocked down by Frederick. And past Brayshaw. Rice was clean. Coughed it up to O'Meara. Just got it to O'Driscoll. Good tackle, Campbell. Flicked up by Jordan, great hands. They send it forward, and Marty's in a good position for a one-hander.
Pretty good craft there. Trying to read the cues when it's handball, turnover is really difficult as a forward. Ideally, you like a bit of pattern behind the ball movement, but just sort of shows both teams' energy around a contest is not just to get thrown on the bird, it's to get out, get available for a decent kick inside 50.
Yeah, he got in behind Pierce very well then, didn't he? Smart play.
Marty, no Logan McDonald in the side. Now through injury to start this season. So much responsibility on his shoulders to be the spearhead. And the kick was tight, but it is home. And the Swans fighting back in the second.
Well, this is the response the Swans needed. 1 goal from a turnover, 1 goal from a stoppage. We talked about it. The pressure. And you can just see there, Amati's just slipped in behind Pierce just at the right time. And then he's got first access back to the ball in the drop zone. You can just see he slips in behind. Pierce has got him in a position there. The closer you are to the goal, the closer you have to be to your opponent. And he just slips in behind it. That's a nice mark and nice finish.
Look, it's about this stage of the game from a coaching point of view. You start to think about, okay, what needs to happen? What's the next thing we need to do? Are we happy with the matchups, happy with the tags? It feels like it's a bit of a nil or draw in the midfield at the moment. I don't think there'll be too many options at this stage.
Marching back to 10. Good contest on a Sunday afternoon. Bolton up in the middle of the ground. Spinning out of trouble, getting the clearance for...
That's a great lead from Josh Tracy. Super clean from Shea Bolton, wasn't it? To get it out on the outside to O'Driscoll. And then instead of blazing away, what he does very well here, you can almost see he just shapes the ball to the advantage of Tracy. Strong, hard lead on the big key forward, but smart ball use as well.
Top 10 in the Coleman last season. Josh Tracy, a real breakout season. Ended up with 45 goals from the 20 games. He had been a reliable kick last year, but Zert's him right there.
Missed a couple last week as well, so just a bit wobbly to start the season. See there, Fremantle set up reasonably well in front of it.
Yankees kick, Brayshaw took the contact and wins a free.
Well, you can see that space very well there, the Dockers. Brayshaw was able to take front position because his defender, his teammate had taken the front position behind him, and that Constantino almost type of effect allowed him to take that assertive position and win the ball back.
Plenty of headbands rolling around in the AFL through the first couple of rounds. That one is more functional. As that one is inside 50, Tracy attacking it. Jordan is clearing the ball away. If it bounces out of play, could be insufficient intent. Boundary throw in the call. It's to the displeasure of a few members of the crowd.
As long as they're consistent, it's all good.
Not sure that was consistent.
It was a play in the vicinity, I suppose. Jackson's a real problem in what I'm seeing at the moment. You can't really fix ruck situations.
Did the hit out that time. Jordan, too much on the handball. Banfield was up to help at the contest. O'Meara winning plenty of it. Out into the path of Tracy. Had support from Sharp. Going down low row bottom. Overcooked it. Erasmus couldn't take it. And dispossesses Rampy. Got a stoppage.
So we've got Luke Jackson. Here you talk about a bit of advantage at this point in time. Can he put it down? Someone's thrown on the burst.
Goes to the base of the pack. Jordan gets it out. Lloyd. 2-on-2 on the wing. Marty crunched it down. Great roving from Papley, who wants to burst away. Steps back through trouble and then stings it long. Hannelly is trying to get there first. Ryan and Clark, and the Dockers numbers win out.
Outnumber game, isn't it, in the D50?
O'Driscoll had to hit the kick, and Frederick had to hang on but not pay the mark. Had a good piece of it. Warner trying to get some separation. Chad. And it goes only to O'Driscoll. Frederick had a fair bit of the mark as it goes up the wing here. Blakey taken out of it early, too early. A block there opposed to Erasmus. Blakey wants to take it and go. Into the pocket. Heaney at the front almost. Bounced back to his feet. Corey Warner's in there. A battering ram. He just created some room, but too tough to bring the kick back from there.
Body's fine at the moment. Particularly some of the aerial contests. Both teams almost reckless in the way they're approaching. It's great to see.
It's opened up a little bit the last couple of minutes. Heaney's gone forward. So they're pretty happy for with the job they've done. It hasn't had a lot of impact throughout the game. Warner looks dangerous. And Sarong, probably haven't seen a heap of Strong, but he's had plenty of the ball.
Right to bring the ball back in. Long ball handling there. Jackson the spoil. Away Johnson. Chad Warner from 50. Tumbling ball into the pocket. Campbell almost. And it'll be rushed through by Pearce.
It's better, much better from the Swans, isn't it? It looks like their type of game. A little bit of ascendancy in around the ball, the clearance. This is definitely in their favour.
Ryan wants to hit it as long as he can. Tough one for Clark. McCartan up to meet it. Clark goes back in recklessly.
Well, it was a set play from the Dockers, but the Swans could see it. It was telegraphed way too easy. Well done from McCartan coming forward. It was a 3-on-1 in the end.
All teams trying to execute that type of thing.
Fremantle have been doing it for years. Perhaps they've been isolating a key defender on that fat side and try and get an outnumber, get him on a wingman or something like that to get an outnumber and an easy contest. Well read by Sydney.
He's aware of the danger. He's got the footy here. Long ball. Johnson is drifting in. Career-high numbers for him last week in July. 27 disposals, 9 contested possessions, 4 score involvements. Another young midfielder that Fremantle have unearthed.
Yeah, he certainly had a huge pre-season. They are expecting a bit of a breakout year from him.
Off the hands of Tracy, rolled by Brayshaw into the path of Erasmus, who's got some room to move. He hooks it back to the top of the square from Frederick. Well defended. No front on contact by Bice. It was a tough, tight call, but Frederick will get the free.
That's such a vulnerable position, that one, as the defender. If you don't turn and at least look at the ball, you are going to be in trouble. Very well centred from Erasmus. That's a free kick every day of the week.
It's a great kick too, wasn't it? It's a young player trying to establish his spot on the side. He could have had a shot. It shows you the character of the kid to. He has, absolutely. They need him to play well too because it'll be out of him and Fife soon.
After the free, Frederick misses from close range.
Both teams wasteful in front of goal. 2-7, 4-5. The golden opportunities going begging.
It's Rampy with no one standing the mark, so he can just go with a few extra metres. Hayward to the front. Good sport by Chat. Tracy, Johnson, and Sharp just waiting on the wing. Stepped off his line, so called to go. Wagner works hard.
So slow play inside 50 opportunity here. And either a kick in between that little launch pad or try to shift the Sydney defence. You can see how well they're set up there.
10 minutes till half time. High ball, McCartan perched underneath it. He got great protection from his other defenders, and in the end, an uncontested mark.
And that's what we were saying. You can't just kick it straight back to the Sydney defenders if they've got an extra or at least a heavily populated forward 50. Move the ball, change the angle, make it hard to defend.
Yeah. Adams lost his footing. Wagner was clean. Down to Sharp. Fremantle to try to roll back inside 50. Driscoll pulls the trigger. It's a poor entry. Rowbottom dropped it. Opens the door. Shane Bolton twisting, turning, elusive, away to Erasmus. Great smother by Heaney. Still in play. Tracy knocked the ball loose. Jordan, McCartan. Good pressure from Fremantle. Rampy's kick. Poor bounce for O'Driscoll. Swans might escape. Wagner plays a good tackle. Again, frenetic stuff.
They're a bit taller in the back line, Sydney, so you do have to change angles. You see a fantastic smother here from Heaney. Does everything, that guy. But if you're a bit tall, they've got an extra deep now deep in their back line. Sydney waiting for that surge kick.
Adams with strength in the ruck. Marty, well read by Walker. A fumble, trying to get away. Ryan got creative. Just went the volley out of the air. It goes towards the boundary and Roberts will be tackled over.
Yeah, so McCartan is the one that's the extra in the Sydney defence. He might be off someone like Neil Erasmus, who's the half forward. He looks like he's taking the corridor type of wing scenario here. At this stoppage, you can see Erasmus looking to get to Warner. It might be Murphy Reid, actually, that McCartan's trying to get free off.
Adams trying to get physical in the ruck opposed to Voss. Knocked out towards Sarong, who slipped. Jordan right with him all afternoon. That's a high kick that drift. And he marked right on the line. Fremantle were expecting it to go over and out of bounds on the full, but it landed in play. The Swans didn't give up on it.
Yeah, smart play. Did not give up on it. That's exactly right. Sloppy from the Dockers defensively.
Back for Lloyd and then back to Blake.
The way it feels at the moment, two teams with a little bit low on confidence. Very, that's like the game of the round, isn't it, on the weekends? You know that as a player and as a coaching staff. And the importance of this game is probably bigger than what it should be, but it's an important game and they're playing that way too. They're going to this conservative spot kick, you know, pretty dirty type of game.
Well, they can feel the pressure, can't they, of the outcome, but also the pressure both teams are applying on one another.
Jackson just on. Swans don't want to fall to 0-3. Fremantle don't want to be 0-2 as a wobbly old kick inside 50. Tough one for Hamling. Did well to knock it to Papley. Roberts, Papley working in a tight spot. McCartan's been important. Kick out wide, drop by Bice. Puts them under the pump. Warner, Johnson, strong work by Johnson. Not to be thrown off by the don't argue. Bit of feedback over the fence for Chad Warner.
Feedback up here too, Pat. We've got to jump
The free on box.
That's hold the ball, isn't it? He's tried to break it twice. It's a fair tackle. He's having a chat to
Justin Longview certainly said was thrown in. Jackson down. Pressure for both teams. Good. Sydney's been excellent in this term. Florent. Way to Lloyd. Driving ball. High one inside 50. Tailor-made for Heaney. Brennan Cox a good spoil. Hayward trying to attack it. Amadi's there. Slips away from Walker. And gets the handball back through. Hayward didn't think goals. He chipped it instead and missed Campbell. Might not have been the 15 anyway. As Sharp was back to Wagner. Chance goes begging there for Sydney. Wagner's high kick. Handling set up. Reed's there, as was Erasmus. Now they have the extra number. Banfield. Chipping ball. Up for Bolton. Steps beautifully. The evasion. Chips it in the path of Jackson. Look out, coming the other way. Jackson took McCartan with him and ripped the footy in underneath. It'll be a ball up and it very nearly went through there, but some injury concerns now.
Left shoulder, that's still out as well. It does not look comfortable being there before. That is awful news for Brandon Walker and the Dockers.
Start for Freo. Another defender in Josh Draper. Looks a nasty one for Walker as the Swans take this one. And they go up to half forward. A clean down low marks. And a 50-metre penalty will be a big price to pay as it'll take it right to goal scoring range.
Pop them back in, Pat, or because you don't?
You can certainly pop them back in, but he's gone straight off, so I don't think he went through the interchange. So I think they're saying he's done for the day. Perhaps they knew there was an issue there. Here's the 50. Let's keep our eye on the plays. This one's played on to Chad Warner.
Cleveland in short to Warner instead. Well, it wasn't the prettiest way to execute it. Could have gone closer to goal instead, but they get the desired result. Another goal to the Swans.
I have to call 50.
You can hear the explanation. Let's have a look at this stoppage though, Simo.
Well, there's been a lot of shape around, a lot of handball. This is get it on the boot, a bit more dirtier type of stoppage clearance. Your man's in front, you get your leverage point. I don't know how they got a spare in front of the play, but that's the other way you can play the game as well. So there's different ways you can exit your stoppage. Some is just get it full to equal numbers, the others use your numbers.
Might have been the fact that Walker was off. That's how they were able to get that player free. You heard the explanation from the umpire. Said that you came in from the side, you weren't in the marking contest. That's 50.
Can't make physical contact there and put the arms around that situation. Almost.
Didn't have a bit of impact, this guy, Chad Warner. 9 disposals of goal.
4 goals Fremantle's way in the first term. Swans have hit back with 3 in the second. Back to a 4-point game. Bolton and Jackson combine out of the middle. Reed delivers into Sarong.
Well, James Jordan's had 8 clearances, a career high to start this game, and the coaching group from the Dockers have said, well, you haven't actually started the game that bad, Caleb Sarong, but go forward and see if you can kick a goal for us.
They've been working that over pre-season. They worked up until quarter time last week, I think, but did it with Sarong. Jackson's the one who, I think his influence around the ground's pretty even. It's the centre bounce, and it's not just the hit out, it's the follow-up, and he's probably the best at in the competition. Hard to match up against.
Straight up there, looks like he subbed into the game for Brandon Walker. Caleb Sarong, the unlikely full forward. He's put it straight through, and Fremantle get a steadier.
It's a little bit like when your ruckman plays forward. They need an impact and kick goals. If you're young, an elite All-Australian midfielder who's going to play forward and play deep forward, then he has the impact, and they've identified this. Not great defending, it's got to be said, from Blakey on that occasion. Sarong was easily waltzed up the ground. Great ball use here from Murphy Reid. That was what he was known for, coming through the draft. We saw him score last week, but elite work here. As Sarong takes a spell after that goal. Let's have a look at the shoulder injuries. You can see getting ready. It's a little hit there, goes to tackle, and it's already out. So he's obviously had some issues. That seems very innocuous, and sometimes it can be that. Yeah, sometimes it can be that way if it's already a bit loose.
So Josh Draper coming into the action. Jackson in the middle, looking good with the leap, but it's the Swans with the clearance. Warner's kick bounces up for Papley. They want a quick response. Ball goes into the pocket. It rolls away from Laddams, who can try to keep it in play instead. Just sees it out.
So the matchup, so Walker is really going to Papley, so they're going to have to shift and change that. Jordan Clark looked like he's the one that goes to Papley. It's not really a like for like with Draper. Yes, he's a defender, but he's a tall defender, so they end up quite big again. The Dockers down back like they did early last week.
10 more clearances for the Swans. So Fremantle pride themselves on. Heaney trying to soccer that one away. Brayshaw, O'Meara. Dockers get a clearance here. O'Driscoll up the line, but Blakey's the spare. He can intercept. Keep it trapped in the Swans forward half. Pokes it to half forward. Aptly given some room.
What a kick. Lays it to half forward.
He hasn't had that much room though all day. So you're right what you said earlier about the matchup.
Papley will chip it in again, and they find Campbell. Good connection from the Swans.
That's a bit sloppy from the Dockers defence on a couple of occasions now. They're playing to Warner goal and then just weren't able to fill the space where there was a connection issue with the midfield, but great connection. Blakey hits the one that's centre half forward, then Papley lowers the eyes. Really nice lead. Can he finish the work?
Very nice kick of footy. Braden Campbell. Already a couple of goals this season. Leans back on it. That one goes out for a behind. So both sides have left some goals out there.
They have it. Some golden opportunities for both teams. We've talked about that, and particularly away from home. It's an important stat, important issue for the Swans today.
Mark out of full back. Jackson is wrestling with Handel. O'Meara. Campbell's got him.
Yeah, the stoppage numbers are, you talked about it perhaps, it's 20 to 11. So it hasn't really impacted the scoreboard as much in terms of scores from stoppages, but it is weighted numbers in the end that can get it done, and the Swans from top in that area.
Jackson got the hit out. O'Driscoll to do the roving. Brayshaw took too long. Great tackle from Chadwater, who gets stuck in as well.
There's the one, isn't he? There's the one that's taken it up to the Dockers.
And didn't get back behind his mark, so have to retreat back.
Definitely something when you're scouting Fremantle. The stats on winning games, if you win the clearances against Fremantle, are really high. It's their number one asset. So to have dominance like that, just to get some field position, is really important for Sydney.
A lot of separation for Grundy. Sure, it happened inside 50. Selangor can't watch.
Yeah, he's disappointed with their discipline, I think, in terms of how they've been able to allow these easy hit-ups from the Swans.
Should know. I mean, Fremantle traditionally are back shoulder type of defence, and if you lower your eyes, you get a little bit of pocket of space. So rely on others to chop out.
Jackson's kicked a goal in the game already. Grundy would love one, but he's going to lay it up, looking for someone to launch. Hayward was down there. Laddams tried the volley. Almost a bicycle kick attempt over his head. It's going to be tough to do from there. Spills out to Jackson. O'Driscoll took the contact. Now the big tackle from Warner. Chad Warner doing all the right things out there.
Yeah, a few of the Swans leaders or better players, Warner, Heaney, doing the little things, really important.
It was that time, just protected it for Heaney. Away, Lloyd crunched. Amos now with a big tackle.
Don't you love that from your key forward? So we've seen Chad Warner hit and tackle really hard, and then the Dockers respond with your key forward. It's great footy from both teams.
Or Blakey able to knock it down and then get Sydney moving into attack. Lloyd assessing if there's any options presenting. He's got McLean as the deepest forward at the top of the square. Hayward as well. Pack forms. Campbell, Rhodes trying to get it across to Papley. Ryan's back there. And out of defence, was touched off the boot. Fell short anyway of Sharp. And out of play.
Yeah, just field position at the moment, isn't it, Simo?
It is.
Been able to really dominate this second term. They haven't necessarily been able to, they've certainly closed the gap on Fremantle, but really get the most of their opportunities.
Some of the numbers, 7 uncontested marks at 24, tackles are getting done, pressure factor Sydney are over 2.10, sort of leaning towards a Sydney type of game at the moment.
Down by Jackson, Driscoll, Brayshaw, O'Meara, and they handball their way out of the stoppage. Wagner for Tracy.
That's a good kick. Smart kick, get a bit of composure, a bit of chaos at the moment. Swans game, we just talked about those numbers.
Locked in Sydney's forward half. He goes long down the line. Johnson has to present. Made the contest. McCartan and Amos went after it. Good handball, McCartan for Rowbottom. Grundy's got runners inside and out. Wicks feed it wide for Roberts. And a driving ball. Very wide though. Too tough for McLean. Alex Pearce can intercept.
A minute to play in this second term. If you're Alex Pearce and the Dockers, you don't want to concede again here. See if they can find another composed disposal. Just get to half time.
Kick from Pearce up the line. Fisted away by McCartan. Solid back there in defence. Turning to his familiar position this afternoon. High ball in. McLean was up. Papley waiting down to do the roving. Tucked up on the boundary. Tumbles it towards the top of the square. Chapman did well. Frederick. Ryan kicks a high and wide ball. It bounces end on end. There's players in the vicinity, so there'll be a boundary throw.
Having said all that, they've got a 9-point lead, kept them to 3 goals 8. It's been a pretty good defensive effort from Fremantle for the first half. They'd be really happy compared to what happened last week.
Swans work rates lifted in this second term. Throwing everything they can at Fremantle. Love another late one here. Warner tried the fin. Good tackle from Jackson, and then Ryan intercepts. Switches on. Out to Chapman. Got the extra number. They go back inboard dangerously. Erasmus was committed to the cause. Wagner follows up. Pearce. Back for Wagner. And now Chapman, and that'll do it for the half. An intense game of footy. So much on the line for both of these sides. Winless so far in 2025. Freo through a bad performance last week trying to respond. The Swans lost their first 2. A final 4 points up for grabs. And at half-time, it's Freo leading it by 9 points.
All right, there we go. Half-time, folks. Fremantle Dockers holding on to that slender lead by 9 points, 5-5-35. Sydney Swans making a little bit of a comeback there, 3-8-26. To tell you what, inaccuracy might be their worst enemy there, Sydney Swans. Look at that. Although they did kick 3 goals 3 in that second term, most of those points came in the first term. So 3 goals 3 to 1 goal 2. Certainly tightened up that game, put handle brakes on the Fremantle Dockers in that second term. I tell you what, we're going to be in for an absolute cracking game. Whether it be low scoring all game or whether this game opens up a little bit, it should be an absolute ring-a-ding-ding game. As I keep saying, this is a game I've been looking forward to all weekend to see what happens. And I do like the space Fremantle Dockers are creating. And again, the Sydney Swans defenders are just putting a bit of pressure on and shutting them down. So that is good for the Sydney Swans coming into second half. As I said, it's a low-scoring game up until half-time. But as always, I'm pretty sure this game will open up a little bit at some stage and the scoring will start to free flow. All right, let's duck over, have a look at some of the stats as we love to do. Just the AFL fantasy points there if you like to play. Dane Rampy, Jack Lloyd and Luke Jackson all on 67, all sharing the lead there. Nick Blakey on 63, Corey Wagner 62, all the rest under that. All right, the goal scorers. Since there was a few other goal scorers in that second term, Josh Tracy still with just the 2 goals from his first quarter performance up until half time. Patrick Voss, Caleb Sarong, and of course Luke Jackson are the other single goal scorers there for the Dockers. For Sydney Swans, the Chad snagged the goal. Chad Warner, that is. Peter Laddams and Joel Armady are the other single goal scorers there for the Sydney Swans. We'll be back with the commentators in just a moment when they're back on. But let's just have a look at the disposal count, the stats for your player. Jake Lloyd tops the table there for Sydney, and overall with 18 disposals, 13 kicks, 5 handballs, 7 marks, 2 clearances. He's doing a great job there. Jager O'Meara, Nathan O'Driscoll on 17 there for the Fremantle Dockers. Of course, James Jordan coming in close behind on 17. Corey Wagner there with 14 there for the Dockers. There's a surprising move. Tom Papley, he's up to 14. He's having a little bit more of a run around near the ball. He's on 14 already. Good to see him in the mix. The coach must have made a little bit of a change. Coxie, good stuff. Good to see Papley there getting a touch early. He's had 14, 10 kicks, 4 handballs. Andy Brayshaw there for the Dockers. He's on 13, not too bad so far. The Chad, well, I'll tell you what, if the Chad gets going, Sydney normally get going. He's had 12, he's had 10 kicks, 2 handballs, as Nick Blakey's having another good game for him with 13 touches also. Isaac Heaney up to 12. Good to see some of the big guns for Sydney getting a touch on the ball. Last week they were a little bit quiet, so it's good to see them up and running already. Caleb Strong, 10 touches there for the Dockers. Lou Jackson with 10. Let's pop on down, see where we go. Shy Bolton having his first game for the Fremantle Dockers. He's up to 8 possessions. Probably should have got a goal if his other player had tapped it onto him, but not to be. They just got to, gel a little bit together. His way of play, their way of play. But he's had 8 touches. He's had 3 kicks, 5 handballs, 3 tackles, and a couple of clearances. There we go. Corey Werner down there on 6. And there are some of your other. Brody Grundy there, the big man. He'll be doing it tough out there in the hot day. Just the 4 touches, 2 kicks, 2 handballs, 4 hitouts. Let's head back down to the ground when the commentators will give a little bit of their analysis.
The Swans, the way they worked their way back into that game, it looked like a Sydney game after quarter time. Scores from turnover in the Dockers' favour early, and then Sydney certainly back on top in that second term.
You still haven't seen that Sydney of old where it's just this burst of 5 or 6 goals in a row and just really break the game open. So, yeah, it felt a bit more like Sydney with the way they used the ball. Fremantle couldn't win a clearance there for a little while, but not the Sydney of old. Probably the new type of Sydney, I suppose.
So let's have a look at the scores from turnover. You can see there 6 shots to 6 shots. So really, it's just been the ability for the Dockers to hit the scoreboard, but it hasn't been a game where Fremantle's best stoppage work has come to life. And as we talked about during the game, if you can knock them over in the stoppages, if you can win the clearances, they just don't necessarily like that sort of game, and they're basically being beaten in that area at the moment.
I feel like the first quarter, the first 15 minutes, it was just chaos, just turnover to turnover, and I didn't know which side liked that more. It feels like both of them didn't like it because they've both gone into a little bit more of a conservative way of moving the ball and not a heap of risk-taking at the moment. It seems a little bit stagnant with their entries.
It was an interesting point you made in commentary too. It's almost like the players are aware of the stakes on offense.
Only round 2.
I know, and it sounds silly, doesn't it, being round 2?
I think maybe both coaches saying, look, it's a beautiful day. We've been training this all pre-season. Let's just go. Let's have a good go at trying to score.
But Dean Cox would be happy with the pressure Sydney brought in that second quarter.
Well, it wasn't only the second quarter, was it? Even though the Dockers were on top at times in that first quarter, their pressure, the Swans, was elite. So that's been the one thing they could probably hang their hat on, regardless of first term or second term. Their pressure has been far superior than the Dockers.
Yeah, and it was been down a little bit the last few weeks. They're not known for a high-pressure type of side. That's more skill over the pressure side of things. So that's a real plus. They've probably been working that all summer.
fair few interesting matchups, but if we have to pick one, it's James Jordan, Caleb Sarong. James Jordan, how good is he? I mean, 17 disposals, 8 clearances at halftime.
Well, it's been a fascinating one to watch because he's been going hard to Sarong. Sarong's actually had a fair bit of the ball. He's also hit the scoreboard with a goal there in the second quarter. But this guy, 8 clearances, had plenty of the footy. And it's, I guess if you're the Swans, you're thinking, how do we get Isaac Heaney into the game a bit more? You want James Jordan having enough of the footy as well, but he is there to negate Sarong. It's the likes of Heaney and Warner you want to probably get in the game a bit more.
Yeah, that's right. And from a Sarong point of view, look, he's getting a bit of the ball, but what can he do to free up others?
Yeah.
And there's a few tags going on. Bolton hasn't had a lot of impact in the midfield. He's taking centre bounces and spitting forward, and a Brayshaw will come on ball, which he's done all his career. Hasn't really exposed anyone just yet because it's been so slow.
So many battles within the battle to watch this afternoon at Optus Stadium. Both sides hunting their first victory of the season. The Swans looking to avoid an 0-3 start. We'll head into the newsroom next with David Zeta.
All right, folks. All right, let's duck on over. I think it's time to duck on over. We'll have a little bit of a look at the team stats as they stand. We had a look at the player stats. You got a little bit of analysis there, but the commentators will be back not too far away. As I said, we've still got 11 and a half minutes before we come back to the bounce of the ball of the third quarter. Here we go. Let's have a little bit of a look at the stats now. Turned it around a little bit, have the Sydney Swans. Disposal count, they are now up +7 in this game. Good to see them having a kick ratio a little bit better. Sometimes they like to handball a little bit more, which can get them into trouble. But they're doing well. 32 plus in the kicks to Fremantle Dockers. 96, 128. Handball. 25 up to the Dockers. There we go. 28, 29 inside 50s. Both teams getting plenty of opportunity. 10 inside 50s. 10 scoring shots, I should say. For the Dockers, 28 inside. And, of course, 11 scoring shots for Sydney's 29 inside. So it's relatively similar, I would say, even though the efficiency says a little bit different there. That's pretty much similar. Disposal efficiency around the ground, not too bad. There we go. Everyone should be happy. There's 8 free kicks given to each side. As I said, sometimes the home team can get that advantage from the umpires. The crowd certainly brings the umpire and the decisions into it. But it's 8 all tied up. That's pretty good. The hitouts, the Swans +3. Clearances, the Swans are starting to get on top in that area of the game. 13-22. They're +9. And they are just above their season average. The Fremantle Dockers, they do need to lift in that game. Only 13 for the first half. They should be up around 20, 21 for the half. So they're well under. They need to lift that game. Of course, the centre clearances, both midfields doing well there, 5 apiece. And, of course, the stoppage clearances. Sydney winning that by 9 there. So Fremantle tighten up definitely and tighten up on some of the looser mids there at the stoppages. Contested possession, uncontested, turnovers. Well, there's nothing much really in that at the moment. They're all pretty square and tight. There we go. Let's have a look at the marks. 34, 49, 15 more marks. As I said, Sydney just controlling that second term a little bit more. Stop the flow of run from Fremantle. I'm sure Fremantle will come back out in the third term after having a little bit of a rest. As I said, I think they were saying it was about 26 degrees, 89% humidity over there at Optus Stadium there in Perth. Tell you what, she's hot. She's hot. She's humid. That's hard to play in that sort of temperature. But that's the way it is when you're playing over in a beautiful state of Perth. That's what happens. Contested marks, 3-6. Marks inside 50. Both teams getting the marks inside 50. Not the most amount of, opportunity, I don't think. But let's see that build. Let's try and see if they can create a little bit more space for their leading forwards. Even if you've got the forwards leading up and then doubling back into open space. If you've got a quick runner, someone like Shai Bolton for Fremantle, he could possibly do that and then just run into an open goal and seal the deal that way. 22-33, the tackles. Sydney definitely putting on the pressure in that second term. Tackles inside 50. Dockers doing not too bad. 6-3, already surpassed their season average. All right, let's head on back to the commentators for a little bit more analysis of the opening half.
They do trail by 9 points. Can they be a little bit more accurate in the second half and get their first victory of season 2025? Let's head into the newsroom now, bring in David Zeta. And Zeets, North Melbourne, they've got their first victory of 2025, a 59-point win over the D's. What happened?
Unbelievable. They were up by 18 points at three-quarter time. You thought Melbourne would come back here. Instead, North Melbourne put their foot on the throat and won by 59 points, as you say. So an incredible win in what was Jack Darling's second game for the Roos, but his 300th AFL game overall. He was understandably elated with the result, as were the Roos fans there at Marvel Stadium. So Melbourne had 3 more inside 50 entries than the Roos, but still, North Melbourne capitalised and the D's didn't. It was a rolled ankle for Jake Lever in the match, making matters worse for them, but they are confident it's nothing too serious. A positive consultation for Stephen to the hand of Jefferson, but they were beaten at clearance, they were beaten at the contest, and that is where it was most disappointing for Simon Goodwin. Here is some of what the Melbourne coach had to say a very short time ago.
That's tough to watch, and we've got to be better at how we arrest momentum, especially around the centre square when that time happens. But that was the disappointing part, that I felt all day that was coming. And we acknowledge and we accept that it's not to the level. And we acknowledge and accept how good North Melbourne were. And we got to make sure we give them the credit they deserve, because they deserve it. But I'm sure at the same time, we also acknowledge that, you know, that's a part of our game that we need to be a lot better at, and weren't today. And we copped our right whack today.
Now, Max Gorn was well below his best. Tristan Sherry had the say in the ruck there. Simon Goodwin did say there are other things going on in Max's life and the club will support him and they'll be part of the response next week. So clearly they're wrapping their arms around Max Gorn, whatever it is that he is dealing with off the field. On the field, Patrick Dangerfield, he has just been fined rather than suspended for striking. This was the incident that took place with Ryan Burns, careless conduct with low impact and high contact. He is therefore free to play Brisbane at the Gabba. The club's sweating on scans for Tom Stewart. A PCL injury is the fear. It's just a matter of how bad it is. He'll get scanned soon to determine the extent of that injury. And Jack Higgins just fined for a dangerous tackle. This again was low impact rather than medium. It means he's free to face his old side, the Tigers. But an incredible season, keeps getting more and more topsy-turvy, Kath. Can't wait to see what happens next.
Stunning scenes at Marvel Stadium this weekend. The Saints last night and the Roos today. Good on them. Thank you, David Zeta. Well, the second half from Optus Stadium is coming up next. Beautiful afternoon in Perth. Picture perfect conditions for our little NAB Oz kickers. Who knows? Maybe they'll be strutting their stuff as senior players in the future. We've got Dean Cox in the third quarter coming up next. State of the game at half-time.
Yeah, I think we got the game back on our terms in that second quarter. Our ability to play a bit of a front half game. We had 19 front half turnovers. But the way we defended and our contest work was a lot better that quarter.
A few battles within the battle. How impressed have you been by James Jordan?
Yeah, he's been really important for us. Obviously, Caleb went ahead of the ball to kick that goal late. But yeah, around the contest, he's done what we've asked him to do. But it's only halfway through the game.
What do you think's going to be the deciding factor? It's a pretty close game.
Yeah, it is. We've got to obviously create opportunities for ourselves and make the most of those opportunities. So that's the idea. Try and get in our front half and convert as much as we possibly can.
Thanks, Dean.
Thanks, Kate.
Dean Cox there, feeling a little more comfortable at half-time, given it's now only a 9-point deficit. And a big part of the reason why Sydney were able to get themselves back into the game. Chad Warner have been brilliant in the first half.
Yeah, that second quarter in particular, he really started to take ownership of the game, 12 disposals, but his ability to tackle and actually pressure as much as win the footy, and then, as you can see there, being involved in 3 clearances and 5 score involvement, 2 is important. The Dockers are continuing to flick the ball around, Timo.
Yeah, contrast style of play. Fremantle, plus 20 handball received, Sydney plus 20 uncontested marks.
100% midfield time too, Chad Warner. Big second half coming up. We're underway, third term, Freo and Sydney from Optus Stadium in warm conditions. And the Dockers break out of the middle. Jackson to Brayshaw with a high ball entry in. Amos was there. And McCartan has paid the mark. Wrenched it off hands and takes a good intercept in defence.
A couple of times Andy Brayshaw has been out of the centre square bounce. Just hasn't been able to connect with the forward. Through a bit of pressure that time. But
ball kick out of defence by McCartan, who throws his head back in disgust as he only found Matt Johnson.
Claiming his hands were a bit sweaty. Back at the jumper.
Very warm out there as the high ball goes back in. They want Tracy and McCartan. No problems with the sweaty hands that time.
can't be that sweaty, Simone.
They get a fresh layer of grip.
Wicks, good chase from Banfields. Through the middle of the ground. Draper, who was subbed in the first half for a shoulder injury to Walker, paying close attention to Papley. Away now for Reid. Now it's Clark on the boot. High ball back into a dangerous area. Tracy there. Hamling smashed it away. Follow up from Tracy. Got into Jordan. Roberts kick smothered. Spills back. Reid. Quick hands. Brayshaw. Quick hands. Quick snap at goal from Sarong. Right across the face. And he just sneaks in for a behind.
Yeah, that's what he has to do, Caleb Sarong. So he's getting the hard tag from Jordan. He's the target play. You can see there, Grundy running past him, just making it harder for him at every opportunity. For Caleb Sarong, that is. So he has to hit the scoreboard. Did so in that second term.
17 disposals himself in that first half. 8 clearances to go with it. Swans out of defence from Lloyd. Clean is up, almost. Draper spotted it down and then spills it away. Able to take it, drive it back, long inside 50, the one-on-one. Tracy! Pure strength, opposed to McCartan. Bolton gives him a mouthful after he was beaten in the one-on-one, and Tracy directly in front of goal.
Tremendous forward craft here from Josh Tracy and the kick as well. So just sometimes all the forward wants is to my advantage side. He gets on the 45-degree angle to his key defender, pushes him strongly and takes a good mark.
Tracy kicked the first 2 goals of the game for Fremantle. So he loads up from close range and he gets them off to a strong start in the third.
Pretty simple Fremantle DNA sometimes when you look at them. Win the clearance, get a deep entry, get your front half game going, defend behind your entry. They've had 3 forward half turnovers in the first 3 minutes of the third quarter, and then they get the third repeat entry, top of the goal square mark, really good craft, really good execution, but it comes off the back of the initial centre clearance, and you get that going early. It's really important for any team, let alone Fremantle.
Can't underestimate that kick, just the advantage side of the forward. Crucial kick there from Draper, who obviously has come in to the game because Brandon Walker has gone off. It looks like Heath Chapman is the one that takes up that huge role of playing on top happily. So Tracy started the game well, but some shifting of the magnets if you're just along here at half-time.
Centre bounce. Bolton's in there for Fremantle and Mira Sarong. Jordan, Heaney and Warner in there. Jackson with their hit out down. Bolton wanted it. Slapped it out into the path of O'Meara. Tumbles a footy to half forward. A wrestle is on. Brayshaw, an important knock. And then lays a strong tackle. Ball up on the 50.
Bolton's taking the centre bounce at the moment, and Brayshaw's starting outside the square. Normally they'll flip back over after the centre bounce to try and catch the opposition out.
Extra mix to the midfield that Shea Bolton is going to add in 2025.
What it does do is you get the hunt and the midfield ability of Andy Brayshaw across half forward. He was the one that beelined the ball and started the repeat stoppage element here for the Dockers. So it gives the electricity, if you like, of Bolton into the midfield, but also the work rate and the hunt from Brayshaw across half forward.
Confuses the opposition too. Yeah. Sometimes when you are playing forward, but you're doing the centre bounces. So
Don't hold. No free.
Grundy to get some separation from Jackson. He's got some running support from Lloyd. Wanted to go back inboard. Chad Warner.
They do that well, don't they? Looks like he's going one way, then changes the angle back inside.
Just going to go with a long kick. Tough one to read. The sun in the eyes of everyone. Marty's there, knocked it down. Papley on the burst. Sharp giving chase, but it's Tom Papley off fresh air. He did he on the line. It was right there for the taking. Fremantle scramble it through for a behind.
Let's have another look at it. It was a fresh air. It wasn't a good scramble from your winger, Jeremy Sharp, that is, to come in and from behind and chase, but it's a golden chance.
Oh, he hit those up. Papley, that's a great mark to Grundy in the pack.
Are you saying to Luke Jackson, righto, he might have taken the first half, but I'm going to step up in the second. He went up on him early, and that's a strong pack grab.
He's going to just roll around and drive it in. Rising up is Corey Warner. Spills out Pearce. He's got issues if the ball's on the deck. The fleet of foot. Florent went past it. Sharp knocked it to Banfield. Around his body was short of Tracy, and Roberts intercepts. Well structured up the Swans. Now Blakey always wants to roll onto that left boot. He sends it in at the front. Henley couldn't take it. Pearce, good tackle, Papley. Now Ryan out to Johnson. Goes wide, some work to do for Amos. Whitish in the first half. Kick made it tough for Brayshaw. Amos back into it again. Tackled strongly. Not really trying to get it out of there, but given the benefit.
Fremantle trying to get going with their handball receive game. Sydney's still happy to do the kick mark, change angles, get it into Blakey's hands. Two contrasting styles to start to show through.
Jackson down, clearly won it. Got it himself. Brayshaw, well done by Hayward, but it spills to O'Meara. Squeezed up, they lose control. Rowbottom, blast the kick back inside 50. Pearce best position, Marty. They take him out of it. Now Draper's got some issues. McLean with a good tackle. He bobs up with a footy as well. McLean, he just wrenched it out of there and said, I'll do it all myself.
It's great follow-up work from your key forward and McLean. Fantastic finish, but actually starts around the stoppage. When you're in a bit of field position like the Swans were, when you start to flick the ball around like the Dockers are, if you can turn it over, here it is, that one there, well read, then you just go whooshka, you get it in there to your one-on-ones. Pearce makes good position, but Amati, great contest. And then you key forward, first to tackle, then he gets up, gets a ground ball and kicks a goal. Simple footy sometimes, not overly complicated, but very, very effective.
So Ladham's going to the ruck now. Grundy pushing forward, changing up the ruck roll. This is an opportunity for Fremantle, to be honest. No, Ladham's very capable, 204 centimetre ruckman, but probably not the same calibre as a Grundy or a Jackson just yet.
Marching back to 9 as it was at the half. The bounce will be recalled.
With the iguana, as opposed to the lizard look about him, but
that's a similar type of do, isn't it? Not for me. Probably not for you either, I would have thought.
I'm sure you could rock that. Pav, as out of the middle. The free kick will come back to the Swans. Everyone's looking around to see who it was being awarded to.
Yeah, clearance numbers -9. The Dockers, there's the high free kick. So this will be 10 to the advantage of Sydney.
Gave it to the Lizard, who drives it in. A great entry for Hayward. Just a piercing kick in low to the advantage of the forward.
Smart play, wasn't it, from Adams? Earned the free kick that was there, and then to put it in the best distributor's hands. And like he'd be frustrating at times to coach, I think, because some of the kicks just don't see what he's trying to do. But for the most part, he makes good decisions, brings others in the game. He makes the defenders think.
He's lost Freo last year too in a couple of games. In the round 16 clash, Blakey had 32 touches, 10 marks and a goal. And he set up this one for Will Hayward directly in front. It's tight, but it is home. And the Swans close the gap. 3-point game.
So it wasn't concerning Justin Longmuir at half-time in terms of the scores from stoppages. Sydney only with 2 goals. But have a look at that kick. That's just a laser. Brilliant work from Blakey. But this one comes from a stoppage. So they've kicked 2 goals in this in this third term from stoppage. So what wasn't necessarily a huge advantage at half-time, only a handful of minutes into this third term, starting to really open up. Here the Swans are on top.
This is the game I think we all hope we'd get. Close game, two sides you think should be contending this year, trying to play their best footy, and it's opening up a little bit as we said, probably slightly in Sydney's favour the last quarter and a half.
3 points in it. Swans scoring well from stoppages. Ball's knocked down. Jackson in there. Jordan. Sarong able to dislodge it. Jackson. O'Meara couldn't take possession. Wanted Sharp, who was riding out wide. Florent was good to go in and win it. Knocked down by Erasmus. The tempo just going up a touch. It's game on in the third term. Wagner wants to find a target. Big pack. Tracy crashed it. Frederick waiting at the spill. Outside of the boot. Across the face. Unable to finish.
O'Meara and Heaney matchup's been pretty good for O'Meara. He's done a pretty good job. He's gone all the way with him when he goes forward as well. So they'd be happy with that matchup.
Yeah, it's about the only one that they would be happy. Jackson and Grundy's been a good match. Probably Jackson advantage at this point, but clearance numbers are starting to get out of control for Justin Longmuir and the Dockers.
Kick for Amadi.
It's also how they defend these plays. Sydney, the best in the comp at finding the spare. If you zone up against Sydney, they quite often find the spot kicks. It's not on this occasion, though.
So many more marks through the game. Fremantle have the Swans. Ryan with a good step opposed to Hayward. Still unsure, changed his mind a couple of times. And just wants to launch it long. Tracy up the line. Hamling almost one hand. Brayshaw's in there. Bice went past it. Hamling, Brayshaw goes in again, just working harder than anyone else. Got it out to Sharp. Feeds it forward now to Banfield. Hooking kick back to a dangerous spot. Voss, Rowbottom, well done. Got back into the path of the forward, and then he just misses the kick. Doesn't have enough to find the line. It rolls in on end. It was perfect in the end. Campbell, he'll gain a few more metres up the line. Dockers have an extra number here. They can reset and reload. Away to O'Driscoll, who stings it in towards full forward. Tracy out. And through his hands. McCartan, Wicks, Swans on the rebound. Kick is a good one out wide to Corey Warner. He can take it and roll. Plenty of space out there on the wing. Shrugs off Sharp. Drives for distance. Up towards Amadi, but Ryan across and intercepts. Good individual pieces of play from both teams through that passage.
And just not able to connect, are they? Just played in between the arcs just this last couple of minutes. Luke Ryan read that one very, very well. Sharp's kept his width on the outside here.
Might have been in the hands of the trainers and fooled them all and bobbed up, and all of a sudden he was ready to take the mark. Driscoll with disposal 19. O'Meara disposal number 23. The two leading the way for the Dockers.
And this is what we haven't seen from Fremantle. Just a bit of control.
Can do. I mean, out of the two sides, Fremantle probably got the more capability to flip into this type of game. They've done it in the past.
On inside 50. Brayshaw there, off hands. Frederick trying to control it. Brayshaw wanted to receive. Jordan, Rowbottom. Voss had him. Wicks is there. Hamling. They're being forced backwards here, the Swans, but they're good enough to get out of it. Campbell was always going to roll onto the left boot, and he goes up the line to find Hayward. Great execution.
That's the money kick. Yeah. If you can get some composure off the chaos, which is their style, very important for any side to rebound 50 and find that type of composure.
Just allows everyone to slow things down. They're under the pump. Brennan Cox with a nice one. Now Fremantle perhaps starting to control the footy in the air a little more. And Driscoll so Mark a task, but he's able to follow up. It's built towards him, and then he finds Tracy. A slice of luck there for Freo.
Lucky to get away with that one. Again, the overhand pass. I think at times there's an ability just to get it into your forward 50. Tracy's had a big game. Yes, lower your eyes. Yes, find the outnumber, but almost got turned over.
Oh, it's just the way they do it. You know, and they train it, you execute it, you reward it, you get better at it, you become hard to stop. So they're not the finished product yet, but it's only round 2.
3 goals, 1 for the afternoon. The one miss was from a further distance out. That one is perfect off the shoelaces. Playing a big roll up forward. Josh Tracy's got 4.
So it's clearly the dominant forward on the ground with the 4 goals. Xiaomi really a non-factor. Dane Rampy doing the job here. Let's just have a look at him because he actually does a really nice job here of crowding him with a pocket of space in front of him. He's not really entitled to get this ball, but what he does really well is just drag the carton back towards the goal with a nice little tick lead back up.
Look, it's good from Tracy, but Sydney traditionally are a back shoulder offence, and recently they've changed. They've changed to be a bit more proactive, fill some space, a bit more zoning than they used to. They used to be very one-on-one. That particular piece of play got put at both. You know, there's no support in front, 2 back shoulder, easy hit up, and that's what happens when a handball chain takes its way through the corridor. It's very hard to defend.
Fremantle by 10. Midway through this 3rd term. And arm wrestle. His final match of round 2. Jackson leapt early. Laddams kept his eyes on the footy. Able to get it to Robo. Getting it back for Wicks. They're being forced backwards. Heaney, Wicks. There was a high tackle and no advantage there, so they can come back. Straight arm. This relieves the pressure. Allows Heaney to take it. Only disposal number 13 for the Swans star.
Yeah, only his first for this term.
Long. High contact this time. McLean was caught behind. And the fans feeling aggrieved. Short ball, not 15 for Ryan. Wide for Sharp. A bit more chip mark coming in from Fremantle. And he took 55 marks in the game last week against the Cats. That was their lowest since 2017 in a match. This one goes long up the line. Knocked away, Reed down low. Handball a bit too hot to handle for Johnson. Sarong mopped it up. Now they can start to move forward if Reed was able to gather. Knocked it into the path of Erasmus. Was slick through the traffic. And then missed the handball to Jackson. Now across to Johnson. Across the arc of 50, it's with Brennan Cox. Now Draper again, just a little missed handball. Wants Draper to go back. A wobbly old kick inside. Reed spun right around. And now it's Chapman who can launch it long. And every possession they were putting themselves under pressure with disposal.
Yeah, well, they've only taken 40 uncontested marks today, so it's probably something we've been working on over summer. And look, if it works well and you can stay in front of the game like they are now, you've got to keep backing it in, don't they?
Handling up the line. Papley kept his feet. Hanley. Swans rolling back inside 50. He was trying to drift down on the near side. Fremantle's just recovered in time. Rory Warner. He's going to put it into the hot spot. Here's the extra number back there. Spikes it down with a fist. Erasmus put his head over it. Now he's got some troubles. Didn't really dispose of it correctly. Holding the ball, the goal.
It's great pressure, isn't it, from McLean? There's a couple of times this quarter where he's the one that's actually the spark and the one that's put the pressure on in your forward 50. That's a huge tackle. Erasmus a bit sore after that one on that ankle, but it's great forward pressure.
Well, if you're going to be tall, your talls have got to put pressure on. And he's done that this quarter. I've seen a lot of it for the game, but this quarter in particular, he's put on some good heat.
In every game last season, Aidan McLean kicked the 27 goals, been injured through the pre-season, had to build his way back. Full game in the VFL last week. An important piece in the Swans forward line, and they answer back again. He's got 2 for the term.
Well, he's an important piece. He's probably not the main piece, but he's an important piece. And if they are going to play a little bit tall, like we spoke about, the ability to put pressure on and convert your goals as well is critical for that third, fourth tall.
You can see there Pearce is the spare, and the kick's just out of his way enough. So Fremantle actually in a pretty good position there, but it's just a great tackle. It's just a great follow-up and tackle. A spilled ball when there's an extra number situation where you shouldn't really get a score. But it pleases Dean Cox, and so it should, because it's just great competition in your forward half, and that's exactly what you want from your key forward.
Adam's extended period in the ruck this quarter. Just be happy with how he's going. Grundy was 4 there for a piece, up on the bench at the moment.
Freshly Grundy up, Jackson doing the majority of the work in the ruck for Fremantle. He launches high here. Trying to flip it over the back. Rowbottom roped it nicely. Heaney tries to straight. Sends the kick towards the 50. Clark didn't finish the mark. Under pressure from Campbell. Hanley flicked it up. O'Meara in there again. McLean, the tackling machine.
Talking about.
Yeah, alarm bells, I think, for Justin Longmuir. These clearance numbers, plus 11, and it's the scores this quarter that is concerning part.
Way to Campbell. Wide for Florent. Changed his mind a couple of times. It's just short of Hanley. He's got support though. Papley doesn't need much room. He snaps to goal. It's been a very nearly day for him so far.
He has, and he's probably had 3 or 4 shots at goal. He's looked dangerous up the ground, but probably not at his best so far this year. He's been okay without being great.
So you get Caleb Sarong back around the ball, Andy Brayshaw back around the ball. What's the
Get your
coaching?
best players around the ball. I know they try a few things with Bolton and Sarong forward, and that's okay to try, but if you need to step up in the midfield, just get your best players. It's the first thing you do. Yeah.
Hanley gets a free here for eye contact over the shoulder. He's going to send it back into a dangerous spot again. And Marty there off hands. Hayward waiting. Chapman was important. Knocked it across to Sharp. Unsure where to go. Handball towards Draper. Hanley puts the pressure on and wins it back for the Swans. Tries to feed it to Roberts. Brayshaw tried to close him down. Campbell's in there, being forced backwards, but they've always got the extra number. It's Warner from about 60, who just lets it fly, but it's away to the right. They're getting plenty of opportunity.
They certainly are. Caleb Sarong only the 2 touches this quarter. Andy Brayshaw 3. I think it's time to back them in, get them back into the midfield. Otherwise, it's just going to live in your defence like it has been in this third quarter.
Fremantle opened it up to a 22-point lead at quarter time. Since then, the Swans have really just tried to wrestle control of this matchup without hitting the front. They're threatening to do so. Here's Florent arching the back, away, the goal's ahead. He lets it fly again, and another miss for the Swans.
She's had some golden opportunities.
When you're a coach and you've got momentum and you haven't converted, you know it's going to go back the other way at some stage, and you just hope you bank some goals when you've got that momentum, which you've got at the moment.
3-4 in this quarter for the Swans, 6-12 for the match. Fremantle under the pump in defence. Swans threatening to send it back into the forward half again. The missed handball though from Roberts. A miss at one end, and now Fremantle have the numbers over the top. Next link in the chain is Jackson. Feeds it away to Reid. Drives it in low and end-to-end stuff. Sydney continued to miss, and Fremantle sweep it up the field. Just as you called Adam Simpson, how often does it happen?
And that was an event. Oh, that wasn't a pattern. So, I mean, what do you do?
Speed off along down the line, though, isn't it?
Yeah, well, those plays you train. You train the long down the line plays. You get support at the back, which they had, but the release backward handball from City has cost them in the end.
Quick movement, a space inside 50 for Tracy. Goes back for number 5. That's off the side of the boot.
Probably a pretty good kick pad, and that's the type of miss he has when he misses.
This is, sprays him out to the right a little bit. You can see just his momentum is going back and left as compared to over that leg.
So breathe a sigh of relief. They can send it back up the wing. Carton off hands. He's going to bang it on the boot. They had the extra number in Grundy who's come onto the ground. Papley marks. And they can go long. They've got numbers everywhere, and waiting to accept is Hanley, who's drifting down.
Well, we saw this last week from Fremantle. Inability to keep the ball in their front half at stage has really hurt them. They conceded 11 goals from that play last week. Not too many this week. It's been sort of back to their best, but this is creeping back in halfway through the third.
Port mark from Papley. And Hanley had so much space. Dean Cox is enjoying it. Or maybe he's not. He can't watch at the same time. But he can feel that his side has the momentum. And he just wants them to kick truly. They need to convert. Finally, they break through. And finally, they hit the lead.
This is brilliant from the Swans, and it's sloppy defence from Fremantle. Huge question marks being asked now. You can see Alex Pearce talking to his leaders there, but let's just marvel in the running power. They actually got one free there. You can see Luke Ryan, he's been sucked up to that contest, and he's just out the back. His arms are up, but it's the time we just have to defend and not necessarily always go to the ball. It's a great finish from the Swans, well executed kick in.
Sometimes it's not the back's fault though, Fab. It's bloody forwards not emptying out, or it's the mids not covering off, or scanning for spitters, and Luke Ryan likes to read the play. You can't read the play when there's no pressure. If it's just open play like that, Sydney are too good at changing angles, and you do get caught out goal side.
It's been a terrific fight back from Sydney. They were down early. They now lead it by 4 points. Get it recalled in the middle. Crucial 3 minutes here till three-quarter time.
Got their best mids inside at the moment. Fremantle, put it on your leaders.
Brayshaw, Amira, Sarong in there. Jordan still on the shoulder of Sarong. Warner, Heaney, Jackson and Grundy go at it. Some big names in the midfield. O'Meara, important toe poke, and the clearance was clean to get it out to Sarong. Generates the inside 50. Blakey knocked away from Banfield, handling a little fumble. Reid has to go in and win it. Spills away to Bolton, a great step, and he'll chip the ball up, and they make it work.
That's great work from Murphy Reid, the second gamer. He had a big decision to make then. Do I put my head over it and win the ball? And he certainly did, and then well executed from Shea Bolton. Here it is. That's well gathered. Gets it out as well, and then Bolton, nice step. And well executed inside 50.
Good work from Amira back in the centre square to win the clearance. Now it's Bailey Banfield. Limited opportunities. He has a big moment here, and it is a perfect set shot to answer back and regain control and the lead for the Dockers.
So critical. Centre bounces, any characteristically fumbling first possession here, which you don't see too often. There's an opportunity to break, and that just push you out of position, and driving his legs through there. Swan often gets on the outside and first handball received. So centre bounces are critical. Easy goals conceded and easy goals got. Arm wrestle.
It certainly is.
I think that's what we wanted to see. Game of the round.
Now, Fremantle, almost interestingly, leading into the game in terms of the way their style is, but they're winning the turnover game, which would please them, but this stoppage area is certainly in the Swans' favour.
Perfect hit out from Grundy. Eventually Warner sends it in. Clark, a terrific mark in defence. 2 minutes to play in this third term. Cox, half back. Chapman.
So perhaps a little bit of composed ball movement here, bit of kick mark with a couple of minutes to go in this quarter.
Yeah, it would have been a call made by the coach. Consolidate.
At the run of Sharp. Hooked inboard instead. It's a high ball through the corridor. Voss at the front, couldn't hang on. Amos on the follow. O'Driscoll trying to get out of there. Attempted to get a kick away. Hamling was taken high. Advantage we got the Swans way.
Bit of frustration after the drop mark, gives the free kick away.
Grundy with the outlet kick to Warner.
Both teams will go to control mode now. You sort of play half the ground. Don't go as quick as you want, but only use half the oval.
Great kick for Heaney. Just over a minute to go in this turn. Swans love another to take the lead into three-quarter time. Heaney trying to step on the mark. Got around Sarong, onto the left boot, into the dangerous spot. Amadi almost got there. 1 inches away from taking a mark, and now O'Driscoll can clear it out. If Fremantle want to roll the dice, Banfield out to Sharp. Still plenty of time on the clock. Johnson now. The boss further ahead. High ball in that direction. And he takes the mark. Wicks was scrambling. Voss was waiting for the footy to arrive.
That's good transition from the back half from Fremantle. They were very good at that in the opening term, but haven't had a huge amount of it as this game has gone on. But O'Driscoll to Sharp to Banfield, and over at the top they go. This is an important kick.
Deep breath for Patrick Voss. As the seconds tick down to end the third term. Poor effort on the finish. Looks away badly. Out of bounds. A goal there. You take the momentum into three-quarter time. Out of bounds on the foot. Wheel deflating for Freo. Almost had the opportunity to add another.
You've been the worst today.
Just got to get right back behind the mark. Still being told. Fans also suggesting you should get back behind the mark. Nice done in this third term. Long ball out. Queen's had a big quarter, and that will do it for three-quarter time. An intense game of footy. Plenty on the line for both of these sides. An arm wrestle. Lead changes in that third quarter. It's just got the feeling it's going to go right down to the wire. As we turn for home, it's Fremantle leading it by 2 points.
All right, folks, it's three-quarter time. How you doing? How you doing? Three-quarter time. We've got a game on our hands. Wow, a game on our hands. 8-8-56. Sydney Swans 7-12-54. Wow, we've got a ring-a-ding-ding cracking final quarter coming up for everyone. Adrian's palms are getting sweaty there. He's a big Fremantle Dockers fan. He's hoping for it to win. If they win, I think it's burgers all round from Annie G. Yo, Paul, what's going up? Coffee. I thought Maui Howie was going to have coffee with you boys this morning. There we go. Albert, I hope you're all enjoying the game. Tell you what, we are enjoying the game here. It's a cracker. Just when we thought Sydney were going to get on top, 4 goals, 4 in that term. It was good to see the Dockers get a couple back, bringing us back to a 2-point ball game. 3-3 they kicked in that term. So we are all set for super duper match. All right, let me just quick look at the top goal scorers and the top possession getters. And then we're going to head back to the commentators, and they'll take us into the bounce of the ball for the final quarter in what is going to be some type of finish. Tell you what, you can't beat the close games in the last game of the round. It's pretty good. It's exciting, isn't it? Josh Tracy, 4 goals, 2 from 7 kicks. Thank you very much. Fremantle, you want to kick the ball to him. He is on fire. 4 goals, 2 from 7 kicks. Patrick Voss, the other goal scorer with Caleb Sarong, Luke Jackson, Banfield, the single goal scorers there for the Dockers. And, of course, for the Sydney Swans, only one multiple goal scorer, as with the Dockers, Hayden McLean. He's got 2, though. No 4 goals for him. He's just got 2 off his 9 disposals, 6 kicks, 2 goals, 1. Not too bad. The Chad, he's still just got 1 goal, 1. 16 possessions, though. He's starting to get into the game. Peter Adams, 1 goal for him. And, of course, Will Hayward, Tom Hanley, and Joel Armitage. No Papley, as we can see. No Papley, the little gun down there that sparks the Sydney Swans up. We'll see what happens in the final term. Jager O'Meara, though, 24 touches, leading the way. He's been leading the way all day. Nathan O'Driscoll, 21. The best for the Swans, Jake Lloyd on 21. James Jordan, next best on 20. Let's just quickly roll down. We'll have a look at where a couple of the stars are, because we're just about back to the commentators. Nick Blakey there with 18. There's Tom Papley, 18 disposals. I think he's up a little bit more closer to the ball there. 18 disposals. Normally he gets about 9 or 10 for the game down the forward pocket. There we go, 18. 14 kicks, 4 handballs. For the Paps, only 2 goals. So he'll be looking forward to rectifying that. The Chad, as I said, 16 disposals for the Swans. Isaac Heaney on 15. Andrew Brayshaw. He needs a big quarter in the final one to lift the flag mantle Dockers, as they say, up and over the line. I think this is definitely Fremantle's game to lose. This is for sure, because I think Fremantle have been a little bit better team on the day so far, and we expect. Let's just have a little bit of a quick peek as I roll down the stats. If you want to see your player, we have got the poll in. Who do you think is going to win the game today? We've got the poll at 64% saying the Fremantle Dockers win. I hope for Adrian's sake that continues our roll, because our roll has been, we've only missed on one, and I think that was in round one. The Richmond Carlton, as I keep saying, that's the only one the live chat have got wrong in the tipping. 64% Fremantle Dockers, 36% Sydney Swans. Well, if you're right, we're going to have a few happy people out there. Well, I suppose we've got some Sydney fans out there. I think Sunset Wanderer, I think Sydney's your second favourite team, isn't it, behind the Magpies? So we've got the Dockers man and the Swans man all cheering on. But no matter what it is, we are looking for a fantastic final quarter here for the last game of the round. And I'm sure that is exactly what we are going to see in this final quarter of round two here. I'll bring the ladder up after the game and let you know. Just to give you a heads up, who these two teams are playing next week. Of course, Sydney has the bye next week. Sydney does have the bye. And of course, next week, Fremantle Dockers, they have another home game, but it's their away game. They're playing the West Coast Eagles. West Coast Eagles played fantastic football today against Brisbane. West Coast probably should have won that if they had a little bit more luck. They did look like the better side, but just the skill set of the Lions got them over the line. But that's who they're playing next week. And of course, next week's first game is Essendon Port Adelaide next Thursday night. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's get back down to the ground, and they'll run us into the final term, where it's the Dockers by 2 points.
Both these sides hunting their first win of the season. Sydney trying to avoid a 0-3 start after last year's grand final appearance. Matthew Pavlich, Adam Simpson, who would you rather be, Freo or Sydney?
It's right up for grabs, isn't it, Kath? I think in front of the home crowd, perhaps the Dockers, but geez, the Sydney Swans have been outstanding, particularly around the centre square and that midfield dominance. So plus 12 they are, the Swans, in the clearances, and they're on top on the scoreboard as a result of those clearances in the stoppage game. So a bit of a different type of game if it's the Dockers. It's a turnover game in their favour. Unbelievably, it's a stoppage game if you're the Swans.
It's a turnover game in Fremantle's favour. It's not a 9 shots to 10, but it's where you get them. And Fremantle's turnovers are centre back. We've kicked 4 goals. Sydney's turnovers are centre forward, and they've had 24 4.5 turnovers. So you have to weigh towards something. Turn the ball over closer to your goal, and that's more successful.
Andy Brayshaw and Caleb Sarong, the two prime movers in the midfield, definitely need to improve and lift from a Fremantle perspective. And probably Isaac Heaney hasn't really had the impact. Can he, as a leader of this Sydney outfit, really spark them? You can see O'Driscoll is into the midfield for the Dockers.
This is what you miss, or what I miss. There's the last quarter, big game. Everyone's watching, last game of the round. Scores are pretty much level. You've got the crowd behind you for Fremantle. Your back's against the wall if you're Sydney. Coaches are toey as. They've got no control from now on for the next 10 or 15 minutes, and then someone's going to be really disappointed after this game.
You can tell how eager the players are to get out there and get into it. Extended break at three-quarter time. They've been out there for a minute just waiting to get back underway.
Does the AFL adjust that given the temperature, or they set it from the game?
It's set at the start. That's what we go with. And the game is on the line as we start the final term. Both teams searching for their first win of 2025. It's a 2-point lead to Fremantle as we're underway in the final quarter. Sarong, great hands to Brayshaw, away to Jackson, who lowers the eyes with a kick, but it was a poor entry. Wicks in front of Bolton, who's done a good job, but Shea arrives to try to have his moment. Crunched in a tackle by Corey Warner. Terrific follow-up to win the free.
It's going to take him a little while to learn the rhythm of his side. Bolton obviously should have given that handball, but hasn't quite worked out the synergy today. It's going to take a little time.
Murphy Reid inside.
Like Jackson had the entire square and everyone was peeling away. I can understand he wanted to lower the eyes, but he could have waltzed into inside 50 and had a shot.
Hamling's kick long. Jackson marked it well today.
This will be disposed of number 18. He has been important.
Well, we just got the sense that the centre bounce clearance is going to be very important this last quarter.
Swans have dominated the clearances today. High ball goes in. Tracy to the front. Off hands. Hamling's there. Reed as well. Just throws the handball away. O'Meara. Tracy. Bolton. What can he do from the pocket? He tries to find Brayshaw. Well done, Rowbottom. Able to knock it down and then find Warner. And he just goes with a big talk. Back through the middle of the ground. High ball. A free kick to the Dockers.
It was off the ball. So Heaney and Draper were wrestling, and you can see there, both thought they were entitled to a free kick. The umpire saw it in the Dockers' favour, but what about that score from Rowbottom? Brilliant.
Right to Brendan Cox. First goal will be so crucial in this final term. Up towards the 50. Tracy in front, strong hands.
He just willed himself to that contest. Almost didn't have a right. It wasn't kicked to him, but he said, get out the way, it's my ball.
Carton was right there with him. Big contested mark. He hits it into the hot spot. Bolton in the middle of the pack. It ricochets off the boot of Reed. It's out of bounds on the full. Freo players are saying it was off a Swan.
We might be doing the rope duck there, the boys.
Thought it had come off Reed, but it's going to be a boundary throw in. Talking good haircuts, the boundary ups going well today too. Ball to be thrown in. Jackson down. Jordan, high ball, didn't clear it though. Erasmus underneath. And the whistle will be paid for a chop of the arm and a free kick to Fremantle in front of goal.
Well done by Erasmus. Had to stand under that ball for what I'm sure he thought was an absolute eternity. Held his ground. I'm sure there was a huge amount of the chop of the arms. We'll get another look at it here as Papley comes in. It's probably a good contest, but it was well done to stand under that ball. I'm not sure there's a free kick there.
Erasmus, just the 4 games last year, he was sub or subbed in all of them. Gets his opportunity today. Big moment on his boot, but he leaves it hanging out there.
This is how the quarter started after half-time. Bit of front half dominance from Fremantle. Sydney struggling to get through, although that kick there just...
Terrific stuff from Sydney, and they slice them open. Corey Warner got it from Chad, and they send it out wide now to Jordan. And again, the transition from the back half to the front half for the Swans. Campbell drives it in, but they get mixed up. McLean was the intended target, but Pearce just peeled back to take the intercept.
They've been elite, the Swans, from those kick-ins. They look very dangerous once they get that ball into open space.
Stabs the pass to half-back, Driscoll. Short ball for Wagner.
Out behind you, player.
So run coming from Ryan, and they go wider instead to Brendan Cox. Now to O'Meara. Disposal number 26 leading the way for Fremantle today.
Yeah, he did the job early on Isaac Heaney and around the ball and continues to find the footy.
Jordan's had the most for the Swans with 22. Now Ryan with a long kick. Tracy wanted to leap. He stood tallest in the end. Rampy went to ground, spills through. Murphy Reid loves a big moment in just his short space of a career so far. Couldn't repeat the heroics of last week just yet.
This is Fremantle's time to cash in, I suppose. And one thing when you defend Sydney, and we did a bit last year, we had a little bit of success, albeit not for too long. It's one-on-one versus zone, and you've got to take out the one-on-one plays because if you zone against Sydney, they will spot kick their way all the way through. So find a man, don't get pulled apart to the point where you don't hand over. These are the wins. Force them to kick long.
Rampy's kick. Heaney was there. McLean as well. O'Meara dispossessed. Swans with the extra number here. Campbell wrenched. Great tackle. Sarong making his presence felt.
So then, conversely, once the Swans do have the ball, you're looking to really, if the opposition's one-on-one, get in some crossovers and handovers.
Shocking kick from Sarong. Did he just kick the turf and it turns it over critically at half forward? Amarty's got it from Heaney. Everyone was rolling in the other direction. You don't often see a mistake like that from Caleb Sarong. It's now with Roberts. Fremantle have been able to set up.
even now there needs to be some accountability for a direct opponent. Yeah, you've got to hand over, Pav. Absolutely. You can't be completely locked on. They would have trained this during the week. Fremantle would have been almost the number one priority.
Warner, he's just going to roost it. Go as long as he possibly can. Great connection. Easily carried the line, but just off target.
Not the fact he backs himself in from that range. Let's see a huge amount. Let's have a look what happened here. Replace all divots.
Would have been a very costly error. This stage of the game at that point on the field. Still a stack of time remaining. Fremantle by 3. Long ball out from Wagner. Amos in the air. They want to get him into the game. Handball away now for the run of Brayshaw. Erasmus trying to run and carry. A little awkwardly off the left boot, but good for Tracy, who couldn't hang on. Rowbottom went at it strongly again. Lloyd kept it in play. Tried defending McCartan, working in a tight space. Great kick from Rowbottom under all sorts of pressure.
Then a big last turn, a couple of really important spoils and tackles, and then well-executed kick inside.
Grundy got Amadi and McLean up the line. Kick goes in the Amadi direction. He was nudged underneath it by Clark nicely. And out of
Doesn't
play.
feel like it's going to break open, does it? It feels like it's going to be about moments, leaders standing up, special plays, Bolton doing something special in the last quarter.
There hasn't been a lot of it, has he? Shea Bolton, 10 disposals, just, as you said, not quite in sync, just yet off a delayed preparation.
Still searching for the first goal of this final term. It's not back boundary side. O'Driscoll sees it out.
This is when you do need to rely on your stars to get something happening from nothing, whether it's a Papley or Heaney or one. They've got plenty on both sides that could do some damage.
Well, some of your experienced players, I mean, we talked about how experienced the Swans are as compared to this young Dockers outfit.
Jackson down, Papley good roving. Fended off Wagner well. Got the kick inside 50. It's just wayward of Hayward and McLean. Dockers the extra number. Brennan Cox didn't really take possession. Back, Grundy in a good spot and intercepts.
Well protected by handling.
And he chips it up quickly. Warner looks so dangerous. Chad with the footy in his hands. Crowd, the tension rising. Warner goes into the hot spot. Big pack up off the hands of Pearce. O'Meara was good. Ryan had to go up and under. The lunging attempt at a spoil. It was great pressure from Hayward. And then we see the footy out of play.
I'm not sure Luke Ryan's had the best start to a season in a while. I looked a little bit fumbly at times. That one was haphazard. He went for a top and he didn't have a huge amount to go for, but I think he knows it.
Sitting pressuring again. Threatening to go back inside 50. Good step from Corey Warner to drive it back into the pocket. Pearce, the man in best position.
Well read, wasn't it? Alex Pearce.
Good day.
Switches up to Draper. Subbed into the game in the second quarter. Danger ball almost intercepted on the mark by McLean. Brennan Cox has to mop it up. Tackled immediately, but just not sure out of defence right now, the Dockers.
The number one pressure player inside the forward 50, McLean, he's been fantastic.
Huge in second half, hasn't he? Tackling, off-ball run.
Just as Fremantle were wanting to clear it, and forced a defender stoppage inside the defensive 50. Bice almost took it. It might take a Fremantle break. Bolton to Frederick. Some speed in that combination. Kick goes to half forward. Reed's got 2 to beat. Bounce will be crucial. McCartan played it well. Reed with a great tackle. And he fed the ball inside Fremantle. They try to take the advantage, but it is called back.
I'm not sure there was. It's great pressure from the young player, isn't it? In his second game. He's played on as well here.
Left 2 there. He wants an option. He goes in towards Foss, and McCartan gets back to make amends.
Had to bring that one to ground.
Swans now in defence. Corey Warner. You see Sheldrick out there, the sub being made for the Swans. So some fresh legs there for Sydney. Kick goes up the wing, bouncing footy, and it's out of play.
Probably for the first time in the game, Warner's gone deep forward and Henny's gone up around the ball, just trying to mix it up a little bit. He's had a couple of possessions centre forward. Warner looks pretty dangerous, and get Henny around the ball, just get him hunting the football, try and, you don't have to have a bad quarter, you can have a reasonable quarter without having a bad game.
To see Angus Sheldrick back out in the AFL field, 0 games last year with injury. Sees the ball out of play here opposed to Brayshaw.
Yeah, and you wonder if those fresh legs will be advantage to the Swans. But you talk about not necessarily having a great day, but you can have a great last quarter. As Brody Grundy's the one that ends up being the sub. So interesting, I guess, with them being so tall, with Laddams and McLean in the side.
It's a bit more run. Yes, it was a wrestle. Jackson trying to win it. Corey Warner on the boot. Wobbly ball. Pearce again, an important contest. Brought it to ground. Disrupted by Chad Warner. Pearce goes back in again. Just dropped the footy. Must have made enough of an attempt. Clark spins into and out of trouble and then holding the ball. The call. Again trying to handle under the pump. Fremantle lose it.
No injury concern for Brody Grundy. Confirmation. It's just tactical, the sub.
Thanks, Councillor Sheldrake.
They would have discussed that in their what ifs, you know, halfway through the last, what do we need to do?
Kick goes in from Warner. Hayward there. Pearce almost. Papley disrupted it. Pearce on his knees. The skipper working hard. Did he drag it back in? Just spills out. Fremantle under pressure. High tackle. Will release that.
From a coaching point of view, if you're Dean Cox, you've got to think about Pearce. He's having influence on this game as a defender, whether it's just holding up the fort, but looks like he's running around on his own at the moment.
Very important at a few contests, Alex Pearce, in this final turn. Kick from Wagner. There's a good one to O'Meara. They can continue to run up the field. Brayshaw getting into some space. Got some options ahead. Banfield working hard to half. 40 drops the mark after doing all the work to get there. Blakey, Roberts, the Swans, O'Meara, good spoil. Sees it out. 3-point game. Goals like gold in this final turn. See potential injury as well now for the Swans with another of their tall. They've just made their tactical sub with Grundy going off and Amati's coming from the field.
It means that Alex Pearce is the extra one behind the ball. We talked about his influence in this last quarter already.
And then under goes Roberts, down low.
So this is we talked about Isaac Henny around the ball. There's Caleb Sarong, there's Andy Brayshaw, your two leaders. They haven't had big days. They need to get moving.
Tracy in the ruck. Opposed to Laddams, O'Driscoll. Just got it forward anyway, caught it. It's Amos. On a quiet day, got up and under it. Got a lob towards Voss. Hamling did well. Knocked it away. Amos another chance. Shea Bolton, the man for the moment in the final turn, but just not enough on the kick. Seen him kick big goals right through his career at the Tigers. Under 10 minutes to go.
Even last quarter, look at the stats. Both teams throwing everything at each other.
Still yet to see a goal in this final quarter. Wagner had to win it. Laddams a good tackle. O'Meara clean again. Playing well. O'Driscoll, the tape ripping off his shoulder. Amos on the lead. Got the separation. Got the space he wanted. And takes a critical mark.
That kick from Nathan O'Driscoll was elite. So well done to Jagger O'Meara to win the ball back. But this kick draws Amos to the ball. Amos is right locked into McCartan. He just gets enough of a wriggle of his hips to get away from McCartan. And as I said, that great kick drew the forward to the ball.
77 goals across the last two seasons, Jai Amos. The 1-2 punch with Josh Tracy. Close range. Big kick. Slams it through. And Dead-Eye Jai finds the first goal of the final turn for Freo.
When you've had big key defenders on you all day, wrestling you, pushing you, Dane Rampy, McCartan and a few others, sometimes you just need an elite piece of ball movement to get you into the game as a key forward. Firstly, let's have a look at how it was set up, and it was elite defence here. Wagner to create the outnumber, go back to the ball, win a big contest. Amira, and there's the kick. It looks quite simple, but it's a really important piece of ball use.
Yeah, it is, and making the most of your moments, you know. Both teams have had their moments this last quarter, and it's such a high-pressure game, which is very exciting for everyone to watch. These clearances out of the middle will become real important plays.
Josh Tracy's in there, so advantage. We've got Bladens, you think?
Well, Bolton's in the middle as well. We've got Sarong starting off the square, which you can question that, whether Bolton could get one on the fly and transition forward after the centre bounce on it.
Crowd rising in this final turn. He's out of the middle. It's held up in the stoppage again.
Sorry, it's Brayshaw that's gone forward.
Yeah. You can say they were just signalling to each other then as well.
Fremantle winning the contest so far with the possession count in this final turn. Campbell's there. Warner will keep it moving. Bouncing ball important. Hanley couldn't take it, neither could Chapman. And then he wraps up Robot.
Sydney telling me it's just a corky for Joel and Marty. He's still on the boundary line.
See if he can get back out there. Kath, as he's trying to see if he can play through it. Adams' kick was smothered, smashed away. Chapman goes, got the arms clear. Brayshaw there. Had Heaney for company. Johnson couldn't pick up down low, but he socketed the footy forward. Bolton coming in to meet it. He goes wider still. Docker's the extra number. O'Meara again. Gathers for Bolton, who wheels around. High, wobbly kick. Will land on the chest of Erasmus. Another slice of luck as he rolls towards goal. Out finds Voss. Better entries now from Fremantle. Back-to-back set shots coming up.
Well, there's a wobbler from Shea Bolton, but what I love, the fact that just beelined the ball here on the wing. He made it his own, and then a little bit of luck as that one landed with Erasmus, but this was another nice kick to your leading forward. Lower the eyes, let your forward run onto it.
A lot of pressure on the boot of Patrick Voss. In just his 8th game. His kicking has been wayward at times, and it hits the post. He's been able to convert.
About the time Dean will be talking to his coaches in the box about, okay, do we do something different here? It might be starting slightly better each team. We need at least 2 goals. Do we pull our forwards back? Do we send them forward up? Who do we get on ball? We start to think about the rotation. Who do you want left on ground in the last 5 minutes?
10-point game, 7 minutes to go. Dockers with the numbers. Tracy, though, knocked it straight down to Sheldrick, who comes into the game. He unleashes towards goal, but the sub can't get it done.
What a golden opportunity that was. Voss down one end, and then Sheldrick looked like he was just going to stroll into an opening goal. It's happened a bit today, hasn't it? Both teams haven't had their kicking boots on in front of the big sticks.
Ryan out. Pierce, been important.
It's a set play. I've seen that for probably 10 years. Pierce on the wings,
Had some frustration.
kick it to a winger, picks up Pierce, isolate.
It's going to go long down the line. Tall timber in there. Voss at the front. Be held up.
Clearance numbers in this last quarter, we've talked about it. There's a Marty who's got that corky to deal with, but Sydney +1. So they've evened it back up, the Dockers. They've been beaten comprehensively in there most of the day.
Great hit out Jackson down to O'Meara. Hamling sport away from Voss. He puts his head over it. Wins the footy and rolls towards the 50. It's a dangerous kick though back through the corridor. Campbell win it back for the Swans. He lost his feet so they couldn't go quickly. But it's a great place to win it back for Sydney. Florent wants to share it away with Campbell again. A good user of the footy. Finds Lloyd. The build-up is excellent. They get it away to Bice. With a run and a bounce, and he stings it towards goal. And it's looking good off the boot. What a goal for Riley Bice for your first in the AFL.
What a great goal for a very young player. Erasmus needs to look at what he did in transition there. Unfortunately, he just switched off for a couple of seconds. Sydney haven't been doing overlap handballs all day, and now they're starting to go, okay, this game's starting to get really important. You see a couple of overlap handballs, but just a connection with your defensive attributes here. You see it right there. And Bice is already on his bike, and he's got goal side there, so you'd think there's plenty of time there to cover off his defensively, and he switched off just for a split second. Switching off has cost him a goal, so not all his fault, but that particular play will be...
Oh, it's like footy, isn't it?
Well, you sit down with your line coach on a Monday and you go through, okay, what do we do here? What are we thinking about? And young players tend to do that. They're the 3rd youngest side this weekend, Fremantle. So they're still young and they're still developing. Not that there's any excuse on today.
How good was that goal from Bice in his 2nd game, the mature age recruit. And out of the middle, Laddams down. Away, Jackson. Out of the middle, Johnson. Jackson tackle, Laddams has got him. 3-point game. Under 6 minutes to play. Been an arm wrestle all afternoon.
Back this way. Feet up, Luke.
Lots of numbers around this stoppage. Laddams gets it down. Sarong, cleanly initially, then the kick askew. Spills away to Sharp. Time to recover. Looks inside 50. Was short of Reed. Trapped it well with the boot. Frederick back for Sharp. They can reload again. High entry this time. Hamling got front spot. fist to the boundary. Well played by the former Docker, who knocks it away. We're getting some treatment. Trying to cool down and reload for this last 5 minutes of play. It'll come down to some critical moments. Jackson in the ruck. Frederick tried to hack at it. Spills around. Tracy with a good tackle, knocked it away and got it clear. O'Meara now to Erasmus. Had a moment to send it high up into the hot spot. Big pack forms, Rowbottom. Great roving. Wobbly old clearing ball away. It'll come back. Chapman to Johnson.
Just got to hold your composure here. Find the right option. Don't have to rush it in there. Still plenty of time on the clock. Go back to your system and your process.
Fremantle lead it by 3. Lays it up to the top of the square. Tracy couldn't get there. Heaney down low. Roberts. Murphy wasn't buying the step. High ball. Clark. Big mark.
And conversely, if you're the Swans, yes, that was under pressure, but you just can't dump kick it out of there. You have to back yourself in, use your legs, use your system, keep changing the angles.
You do run the risk of getting too high as a forward line now and give Fremantle a spare. There's 4 minutes to go. If anything, you might want to hold your forwards.
Ryan's going to blast it. Wanting a big leap, but Jackson was up. Hits the deck. Laddams, though, at ground level, like a rover. Running out of defence. All knocked away. We'll see it a clean.
That's as good as you're going to get. Perhaps you can get some sort of stoppage from that play because they are getting really high. Unless you start using hands and getting overlap, you're going to kick to an outnumber. So stoppage is probably the second best thing you can get from that play.
Big ruckman, have a look at him go.
I was trying to be the iguana that time. Matching it with the lizard as he's in the ruck here. Ball knocked down. 4 minutes to play. 3-point lead to Freo.
Been a warm day here in the West. You just wonder the team that's the fittest and done the most work across pre-season.
Brayshaw put his head down. Rowbottom went in as well. Brayshaw a little slow to get back to his feet. Ryan harassing. Sarong. Rowbottom for company. On the boot was a sling duck tackle after he got rid of it. Possession of Fremantle. Is it down the ground free? It is. So they're advanced. Up to Reed. Scott is waiting out wide. Sharp. He's going to go high and long. They blast it in. Tracy out of position. Hamling with the spoil. Important contest. Sydney can sweep it back the other way. Warrant waits. Now to Bice. Got the extra number. Good look inboard. And a great kick too to Rowbottom. Swans can cut them up here. Rowbottom with the footy. The run comes from Roberts. They want the option on the far side. Long ball. Sarong did so well. Not to infringe. Got back on Corey Warner and won an important one-on-one. Kick to the wing. Reed now with responsibility. Up against Lloyd. The experience and the youth going at it. Spills away now to Sharp. And Blakey let him walk over the line. It'll be a boundary throw in. 2:59 on the clock. Less than a goal in it.
Got a spoil from Caleb Sarong out of position. And then he had not much in front of him. And Murphy Reid just did enough to equalise here on centre wing. Huge last couple of moments here.
A goal each way in this final term. That's all we've had. So hard to come by. Both teams desperate to register their first win of the season. Heaney on the boot. Fremantle had numbers waiting. Clark to Bolton. High ball into the corridor. Important position. Hamling with a great spoil. Knocked it down for the Swans. O'Meara's got him collared. Bice had some critical wins in this final quarter. Frederick hunting after him. Bice the spin. 2 Dockers down behind play. Swans lining up in the middle of the ground. Options are plenty through the centre square. Corey Warner feeds it to Heaney. They want someone inside 50. Heaney corralled. Good composure. Found Rowbottom. Marty labouring with that cork deep in attack. Rowbottom taking a breath. Trying to size it up. Amati's the target. One-on-one test of strength. He wins the battle. Amati outmarks Brendan Cox. And a chance to put his side in front.
Great bits of individual play in the last couple of minutes. Fremantle put an extra behind the play. Sydney used a little bit of composure, which they're very good at. Change angles, and it's just a great one-on-one contest.
Fantastic mark. Great kick as well. Brendan Cobbs caught out of position. What a huge kick this is.
Close range shot. He was down. He was wounded. He fought for it to come back on the field. And the fighting spirit of Sydney sees the Swans take the lead.
So this is the coach's box now. What do we do? Fremantle went into conservative mode, put an extra behind the play. That gets thrown out the window straight away, and Deans are going to make the same call. As a coach, you're thinking, do we equalise with a spare, or do we take on the spare ourselves? So wait to see some structural change as much as momentum.
We can see players already instructing one another out there on the field. Great one on my mark from Amadi. Dean Cox, you can say straight away on the phone talking about the next setup, but what a finish.
So there'll be a counteractive move to each coach. One will say get a spare, the other one will say equalise, and it'll just be a mirrored type of situation, unless Fremantle want to keep a spare behind the play so they can get some of that overlap with their handball.
The Swans haven't led much all day. 2-1 in this final term. The crowd trying to wheel the home team over the line. The Swans keeping them at bay. Important clearance out the middle. The Swans have been so good in that area all afternoon. The kick from Jordan. Draper knocked it down. Warner always a danger. Turned into trouble as he taken high. Knocked away to Clark. Handball through to Sarong. Knocked off at desperation. Sarong goes again. Clark knocks it down. Brayshaw to take it away. Ran into trouble. Rio still have it. Now with Clark, who can run and carry. A minute to go. Long ball inside 50. All Sydney. Blakey could have marked it. Freo have numbers, but it spills to Warner. Took the contact, didn't dispose of it. It spills with Roberts. Doc is sweating. Sharp wants it. Good tackle. Ball up. 44 seconds on the clock.
Got what they wanted. They got the spare and just didn't take the grab. Blakey behind the play.
High there for Warner.
And they put the whistles away.
44 seconds.
Still got a number behind the ball, the Swans.
Fremantle half forward. Sharp knocked it down. Jackson knocked it away. Inside 50 in his 100th game. Now it's O'Driscoll. Swans desperate. Sarong's there. A throw the call to be a Sydney free. Sarong trying to score. O'Driscoll shoving it up. Possession back to Sydney with 32 seconds to go.
It should be game over now. The Swans with only 30 seconds to go. You find, you lose, you control the ball. Blakey thinks it's a point. There's the throw.
If you're Fremantle, you've just got to find a man. Just take out every avenue. They've been trying to do it all day. Doesn't matter where they are on the ground, even backwards.
They've dropped their first two of 2025. After such a tough finish to last season with the grand final defeat. A win had meant so much. Pearce knocks it down. Still time for either team. Warner taken high that time. And that might just about do it. He and Bond stare each other down.
Don't give it away, stand away.
14 seconds on the clock. Warner's had a huge influence on this contest. It'll be disposal number 26. And he chips it back. Fremantle just lacking in manning up. They go up the wing for Heaney, but it's dropped in short. Still one last chance. Sharp, 3 seconds, needs to kick. They want a mark. Deep in offense. Siren! The Swans break through. A first win for 2025. A first win for Dean Cox as the coach of Sydney. The Swans winners by 3 in a thriller. Stunned silence around Optus Stadium, but it's Sydney who go home with a big 4 points.
Did they steal it? Or did they earn it? I think they earned it.
Absolutely, they did after half time. They were the better team after quarter time. Absolutely, they were the better team, and they handled the bigger moments better. Incredible performance from these Swans away from home, hot conditions, and they get the job done.
Could have gone either way though. One of those games. Fantastic to watch. The crowd's a bit stunned. We took the last minute of the game.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, Sydney had lots of opportunities throughout the game, didn't they, to hit the scoreboard with this last quarter, 1 goal 3 from the Dockers. second or two when the ball was turned over.
What a moment for Dean Cox. Amos was trying to take the mark. The siren had certainly gone while the ball was in the air. A hard-fought win for the Sydney Swans as we get down to cap.
I've got Swan superstar Chad Warner alongside me. Chad, that looked like an arm wrestle all day. How did it feel to play in?
Yeah, it was pretty tough. I mean, they are an amazing contest team. You saw that all game, and they obviously bounced back really well after last week, but couldn't be proud of the boys, to be honest. So keep in it for Coxie for his first win.
Yeah, what does this mean to the group in getting the first victory for Dean Cox?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, he's such a great fella. Everyone loves him. He's been with us for so long, and I think he deserves it so much, but so do our boys. We've been grinding away, so it's good to get the win finally.
Does it feel much different with Cox in charge now?
Not really, to be honest. I think he's fitted in really seamlessly. I think there's maybe a few less outburst moments than Horse, but we love Horse as well.
Talk us through those final stages. I mean, it was so tense. Freo threw everything they had in those last couple of minutes, and there was even a bit of friendly fire with you and Shea Bolton.
Yeah, no, it was. I think it's everyone, including the Freo players, are all massive competitors, and I guess that's what we do. And yeah, I think you get a bit heated at times, but it's all part of the game.
We've seen you kick some amazing goals. What do you think of Riley Byson's to get you back within three?
Well, it's probably one of the best first goals you ever see. I think he trusts himself and had the confidence behind him. I think that's what Coxie drives, to be honest, just be confident in yourself.
And people to play their roles, which James Jordan did on Caleb Sarong. How big was he? I think he had 8 clearances by half time.
Yeah, he's an absolute gun. I think he's probably one of the most important players in our team, to be honest. And yeah, you see what he does to like the Strong and like Neil last week. Yeah, don't know what we do without him, to be honest.
I know it's only round 2, but how much of a pressure reliever was this win? Everyone was talking about your 0-3 start to the season if you lost today, but you have had some tough games to start against Brisbane and Hawthorn.
Yeah, I mean, we were right in those games as well. We did sit a lot wrong at the end, so I wasn't too worried. I mean, you always want to win, but coming into these weeks, I think I wasn't too worried about the ladder. I knew it would turn at some point, and I think it did today.
You've been pointing to the crowd a little bit. Have you got any family and friends in the stands today?
Yeah, I think they were the Sydney fans there, but I'm not sure. They might be up there, the family. I think they'll come down to the rooms and celebrate the win.
Go and enjoy. Thanks, Chad.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
What a game at Optus Stadium, staring down the barrel of a 0-3 start. The Swans kicked a late goal to get it done and register their first win of the season. The Dockers still to get off the mark now, so the pressure builds on them.
All right, there we go, folks. Sydney was at 68, Freo 65. I'm not sure what happened to the scoreboard, folks. A little bit of a malfunction with the scoreboard, so I just kept that up to date in the chat. There we go. I don't know what happened. I went to the site to have a bit of a look, and all down there, but that's all right. Unfortunately for Freo, it was their game to lose, and I think they did that. But you know what? Sydney were good in that final quarter, but just a little bit stiff. The Fremantle Dockers. The ball was kicked in. Was delivered in the final seconds of the game into the Fremantle forward. The Fremantle Dockers player took a mark. It was about 10 metres out on a very slight angle, but it was about 1 second after the game, and he would have had a shot to win the game. But unfortunately, that did not happen, and Sydney come away with a win. Well, let's just say, which was a little bit surprising, Fremantle Dockers, I don't know, we've seen it before. When they start really well, they're doing great, but they just let the opposition in. I don't know why. Fremantle, tell you what, they're not a bad side. I know they're missing a couple of players there, but they should have won today. They should have won today. A little bit like Brisbane, it was just a workmanlike game that they did. They hung in there, and they got the job done. Finally hit the front and finally won by those 3 points. There we go. Look, we even had a poll today, and unfortunately, the Fremantle Dockers, we got that one wrong today. 61% went for the Dockers, 38% for Sydney. So I don't know what happened to the scoreboard here. Anyway, the player stats, there we go. Let me see if this is actually updated. Let me have a look and see if this is updated. All right, still got Tracy 4 goals. that he was your leading goal scorer on the ground. Before we end this, Hayden McLean with 2 and Harmony 2. Harmony kicked a winning goal there for the Sydney Swans, of course. Chad Warner with 1, Patrick Voss, Sarong, Laddams, Jackson, Hayward, Hanley, Bice and Bamfield and a miss all got a goal. Leading disposal getter on the ground. I think this is correct by the end. Jager O'Meara, the only one in the 30s, got 32. Chad Warner, 26. He had a good last quarter, didn't he? He lifted his game a bit. Matty Roberts, 25. O'Driscoll, 25. All right, let's just roll down. Check out your stats before I head off in. Just want to thank everyone for coming in. Dane Rampy with 12. There we go. Josh Tracy ended up first goal scorer of the game. Ended up with 13 disposals, 8 kicks. Ended up kicking 4 goals too. So a great job from him. All right, there are your possessions. I'll just roll through. There we go. Player stat. Teams. Yeah, we got that. Look at that. Hasn't even got. All right, we can't even get that. That's all right. There we go. Team stats, all pretty, not too much in it there. 363, 348. 14 scoring shots to 16. Both pretty similar in that 59, 55. A lot of inside 50s for both sides to have a crack at. Free kicks, 15 to 18. Nothing much in it there. As I said, it was a pretty even old game all through the way. It's just Sydney just had that final bit of luck where they got that mark about 4 metres out from goal. And Harmony just slotted it straight through the big sticks to put Sydney in front and give them victory for this afternoon in this game. Marks inside 50. They both had opportunities. 12 to 9. Actually, the Dockers were +3 on that front. Yeah, it was just a shame the game didn't go for about another 2 seconds. Because in that way, I don't know why I'm not sure why the scoreboard has not. There we go. There is the scoreboard. It's finally updated, folks. It is finally updated. That is the final scoreboard. Let me try and get it back on here just a minute. Summary. I just want to put it reloaded on here just for a few minutes, if that's possible. No, that's it. All right. There we go. That is the full-time score, as we can see there. 9-14-68, the Sydney Swans. 9-11-65, the Fremantle Dockers. Who do you support? Hey, Boston 2.0. I actually support the Magpies. So they had a good win against Footscray, the Western Bulldogs, this week. They had a fantastic win there. Let's have a look. Now, I'm not sure if this has updated. Anyway, what we'll do, we will tell you who's playing next week and the games what we've got. But before I do that, the winners this week, round 2, were Hawthorn defeating Carlton, Collingwood defeating the Western Bulldogs. Adelaide Crows had a big win over Essendon. Of course, Port Adelaide put the hammer down on Richmond. St Kilda last night, it was a 7-point win over the Geelong Cats. And of course, the Lions today, a very workmanlike win over a very gallant Eagles, who we thought were going to end up winning the game. Of course, the big win of today's game was North Melbourne. They had a big win, 59 points over Melbourne. And of course, Sydney got up in the dying minutes over Fremantle, folks. Next week, folks, we have games on again. We've got games on again, and it starts again next Thursday evening, 7:30 p.m. Melbourne time. Should be another good game. We've got Essendon taking on Port Adelaide, Marvel Stadium. Port Adelaide going to that game, 166 favourite against Essendon, 223. Look, it's reverted back to the old. Let me put it back on there for the moment. Let's hope it stays. All right, that's next Thursday night's match. Next Friday's night match, we have Carlton taking on the Western Bulldogs at Marvel Stadium. That'll be at 7:40 p.m. Melbourne time on next Friday. And, of course, next Saturday, we've got some big matches coming up there. We've got Melbourne taking on the Gold Coast Suns at the MCG. 1:20 afternoon game. Following that, we've got St Kilda taking on Richmond at Marvel Stadium. That will be an interesting game. Absolutely. Of course, one of the games of the round or a couple of games of the round. This has done it again. I don't know why that scoreboard is just going bananas, but that's all right. We've got Hawthorn taking on the Giants. First plays third. There we go. Next Saturday, 7:30 p.m. That's at University. That's down in Launceston. And, of course, the other game on that evening will be the Brisbane Lions taking on the Geelong Cats. Folks, I don't know what game to do. Hawthorn Giants or Brisbane Geelong. I don't know. I just don't know which game to do. Maybe the Brisbane. Actually, I might do the Brisbane Geelong game. No, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe whatever game's not televised we can do. And, of course, next Sunday, we've got the Adelaide Crows taking on North Melbourne. It should be a good game. The Crows in fine form. And, of course, North Melbourne having that big win today. They'll go into that game with a lot of confidence. West Coast taking on Fremantle. There's an interesting game. The derby over there in Optus Stadium in Perth. 18th playing 17th, the two bottom sides. Who's going to win that? There we go. And, of course, next week, the two teams that are having the bye, of course, is Sydney and the mighty Collingwood. So that is, folks, that is it. Me too, bro. Go Pies, go Pies. We've got a week off next week, Boston. It should be good. Looking forward to their next game, that is for sure. So we've got the bye. And then, of course, Collingwood's next game after that is Thursday, April 3. I tell you what, Boston, this is going to be one of the ring-a-ding-ding-ding games of the round. It's Collingwood v Carlton. That'll be a Thursday night match. That will be huge. I'll be doing that game 100%. That comes up in round 3, of course, but the Magpies having the rest next week. All right, folks, that's all I've got for this one, this coverage this time around. Thanks all for coming in. Appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, Freo lost Eddie G. I know. I tell you what, they shouldn't have lost that. They should have won. Tell you what, it could be a tough game next week against West Coast. It could be. West Coast played pretty good today, but I don't know. It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one. Good luck next week with Fremantle. All right, folks, that's it for me. Over and out. We'll beat them. Yeah, we should. Let's hope we do. Let's hope we do. But I think the Pies are going to start to get on a roll. I think the Pies will go pretty well. Flag Pies. Hey, I tell you what, I like that. Not Flag Mantle. Let's go Flag Pies now. Boston, Adrian, the Flag Pies for 2025. I do like that. All right, folks, that's me over and out. Thanks for all tuning in. We'll catch you next Thursday evening. It should be another cracking game. Don't forget, 7:30 next Thursday, Essendon taking on Port Adelaide. We'll see you then.